Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to our second installment of the Synthodrive by Haisojoko. Here at TRACKILICIOUS, we will be running races 5, races 6, races 7, and races 8 tonight. I'm Ghoukasian, and I am joined by your one and only Josie. Josie, how are you doing tonight?
Doing great. How are you, Eric?
I am doing fantastic. Unfortunately for everybody, Mike Noss is a little under the weather. He's still here in the background, lurking, making sure we're doing our jobs well today. But yeah, you're going to see us, my face tonight, and Josie here sitting with me in the booth in the technical area, running the show. So, Josie, we got some impressive things going on in the championship. I think you want to catch us up a bit on what's been going on.
Yeah, let's just do a quick recap. So we've got 4 races that we've gone through: Mugello, Black Cat, Long, Bahrain, and Interlagos. McLaren has been the fastest car for 3 out of the first 4 races, so huge start from McLaren. They are miles ahead of everybody in car development, and I anticipate that they'll be the fastest car by the end of the season still. They have a large upgrade still to go, so McLaren looking extremely strong. I don't see them falling off, but huge thing so far for me, I think, is that we've had a different race winner every single race, and I believe we've had a different pole sitter every single race as well. So very, very close in terms of car performance. I think it's been very competitive. Huge standouts have been Meliori, who is actually in the lead of the WDC right now. She has been in the top 5 every single race. Hasn't won a race yet, but has scored P3 twice and P2 once. Both Red Bull drivers as well, having won one race each, and scored top 5 finishes in 2 out of the 4 races. So I think Red Bull is looking really strong. Going into this week, we've got Prague, Spa, Watkins Glen, and Binocbre. I think this is one of the best segments of the calendar. We've got a street race, a legendary circuit, Spa, one of the best circuits in the world, in my opinion. Watkins Glen is also super fun to watch. Very good racing at Watkins Glen. And we've got Binocbre, another street circuit in the Highlands of Scotland. I really like this segment. There's a lot of chances for crashes, a lot of overtaking, risky moves. And street circuits in general just are kind of bumpy, so we'll see how the drivers adjust to that. We've got a couple upgrades to go here. We've got Williams, Red Bull, Ferrari, Sauber, and Renault, BMW all have upgrades this round. Most of the teams are running low on budget here, so we're gonna start to see some teams running out of money. We're gonna see Ferrari going really heavy here. You wanna?
Yeah, just a quick break there. Big shout out to AV6 Scott with a 17-person raid. Thank you. Welcome, one of the drivers. He is on, what team is Scott Sullivan on?
Renault.
Scott Sullivan on Renault. Looking, it's got some room for improvement, let's say.
A difficult start for sure, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, excited to see him on the grid. Scott, welcome. Everybody from Scott's channel, welcome. Hope you had a fantastic stream as we're about to get fired up here with our 5th race of the Synthodrive Championship. Well,
right.
But we got some roles to take care of, I suppose. Isn't that right, Josie?
Yeah, absolutely. We have Eric rolling for us today. So let's start with Williams. They have a medium incoming, so let me know what the role is.
All right, so we are rolling the D20 die here for Williams. We're going for a fresh roll. And that is an 18. Huge roll for Williams.
Absolutely huge.
That's
a plus
roll
4
for Williams.
That's a maxed out medium, yeah. Huge. And that is really going to put Williams up near the front here. We've got Red Bull up next with the small.
So yeah, Williams, needing that huge advantage. So, small, you said, for
Red Bull, yes.
Red Bull, and a single roll for Red Bull. Red Bull, huge advancements in their previous races, and they come with a 1.
Oh,
the karma gods, the balance gods.
You hate to see it.
Goodness.
That's a -1 for Red Bull. That's really going to put them on the back foot, which is kind of sad. They've been having such good upgrade history until now, and at the beginning of the night too. So these are persistent upgrades, they're going to really feel it. Ferrari has most of their upgrades scheduled for this leg of the season. So we've got a medium incoming for Ferrari. We'll see if Ferrari can pull themselves up. They got a 4 on their first roll, which was not bad, but they're really trying to push forward at this leg of the season.
So that's a fresh roll for Ferrari, and we are rolling an 18 for Ferrari.
And that is huge. That's gonna be another +4 for a medium. Man, these mediums are doing really well tonight.
Team principal Anthony Bianco is gonna be super excited about that one.
Yeah, and that'll put them on par with Honda at second fastest car for now. Sauber's got a medium incoming as well.
Fresh roll for Sauber. Oh, middle. 11 on for the Sauber there.
And that'll be a 3.
And big shout out to Absolute. Thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to this unique experience. I'm hearing follow because of the beer. I appreciate it. Thank you. I grew it myself. It took a while.
Time he commentated.
Yeah.
Is it scary?
So that's
LB, we've
11.
got oh, sorry. Yeah. 11's going to be a let me see here. 11. That's for
Sauber, I believe.
Sauber, yeah, and a medium for 11 or a 11 for medium is going to be a +3. So that is actually really big for them as well.
I do want to explain what we're doing here, Josie, just so that everybody watching understands. So what happens is everybody gets a budget through the season, okay, and they get a bunch of upgrades with that budget, right? They get a small, medium, large, or extra large. Each of those upgrades have a certain cooldown period, so you can't constantly go extra large, extra large, extra large. There's a bit of a gap between them. But every time you make an upgrade, what we're doing here in rolling the die is deciding the efficacy of that upgrade. Just like in real life, teams bring in upgrades for certain tracks or whatever it is. Sometimes they work and sometimes they do not. And this is what the roll of the die is determining. A brilliant idea by Josie bringing it into TRACKILICIOUS. We love it. I'm having a blast. Hopefully you guys are as well. Josie, we have the 11 for Sauber. Who are we going to next?
We've got a small for Renault next.
All right, rolling a fresh die for Renault. What are you going to get, Renault? And a full 20. I believe that's the first 20 we had in the championship.
I think we've had one. We've had 120, but that'll be a +4 for Renault. They really, really need that. And this is actually going to bunch up the car performance significantly here. That's going to put them at +11 on paper. And yeah, our midfield is super packed right now. There's like, I want to say more than half the grid is in the midfield, and the performance of the cars are all within a +1 variation. So we're going to see the drivers have to really ring the cars out. It's going to be an extra large for BMW next.
Ooh, big risk here. Yeah, and I guess Scott Sullivan, welcome to that big 20 that you guys rolled. I know Scott Sullivan, a little bit of a D&D guy, so I'm sure he appreciated that roll. So an extra large for who are we rolling again?
BMW.
Ooh,
that'll be Steven Tomaszek's team. Yeah.
The tension. Should we just hold it a little bit? Because I know Tomaszek's watching. Just a little bit more. Okay, all right. Let's do this.
Die in the hand a little bit. Yeah. Blow on it really quick.
Big roll. Big blow Tomaszek into the screen. Oh, that's okay. Okay, 12.
12 is good. 12 is very good. That'll still be a +6. You'll miss out on about +2 there. Max is +8 on the extra large, but a +6 is way better than what they've had. They've had 3 upgrades hit only for a +1 this whole season, so the +6 is going to be super welcome. Steven Tomaszek, one of the best drivers in terms of the AI drivers, so will be interesting to see what his AI makes of this upgrade.
And in before we go to our next roll here, thank you so much, Mr. Church. Huge donation again. Huge supporter of TRACKILICIOUS. Welcome back to Synthodrive here as we are rolling for the upgrades. Before we get into the races, Josie, who do we have next?
We are going, that is it for the upgrades. I'm putting them in right now on the cars, and we're gonna get back on track soon. So if you give me 1 second here.
Well, there you have it, folks. That's wow. Some exciting rolls. Unfortunately, a 1 for somebody, but 20s, 18s. This is going to be exciting. I think it's going to shake some things up because some of the mid-tier teams got these big upgrades, and I think it's going to really help challenge some of the advanced teams. That we're looking at McLaren right now, that has the most advanced car for the series. I know Milo in the mid pack right now, but looking pretty positive for the rest of the season, and having some solid upgrades in the first week of our races, having 4 races, 4 different upgrade strategies available to the teams. Now going into race 5, race 6, race 7, and race 8. As explained earlier, we're going to be at Prague, at Spa, at Watkins Glen, and at
Banachre, I think it's. I have no idea how to pronounce that actually.
Any Scots in the series that can help us out? Banachre,
Yeah.
Banachre. Gotta get the. But yeah.
So here we go. Do we have the feed live? Cool.
Yeah, going into the
cameras on Meliori right now. WDC leader at the moment. Mercedes driver. And doing way better than her junior record would suggest. I think a lot of people thought that Meliori would be the number 2 driver at Mercedes based on their junior records.
So I want to give the people a little bit of background on what that means. So before the championship started, the team principals were given a little bit of history on what these drivers' skill levels were from race results from previous series. So we had F4 wins, F3 wins, F2 wins, junior titles, Super Formula, and a bunch of other series in which the drivers had a bunch of championships that they had won. Meliori looking, let's say, average at best, right? But coming in to the Formula 1 series here at Synthodrive and just killing it in the first week that we had.
Yeah, doing way better than her junior category history will suggest. And we've seen that in real life too. Some drivers, the faster the car goes, the better they get. And we've only had 4 races, so we'll have to see if it's a fluke or not. Ooh, and that is going to be Eric coming out of the pit lane. We'll be slowing Meliori down a little bit on her hot lap here. So probably going to lose a couple tenths, Meliori. This is manufactured, Eric.
I can't help my pleb status even as an AI. This is horrible.
It's got a lot of pace, that Audi. A little bit of overtaking and during qualifying here. And we've also seen that some drivers have gotten pole position but haven't been able to convert that to a win. So we'll see if that continues to remain true this leg of the season. I think generally if you qualify in the top 5, you'll finish in the top 5. We've seen exceptions to that, and then namely with crashes and or some cars taking some damage and then falling down the ranks.
Justin asking if this track's from Forza. You know what? I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah,
it for sure is.
You can actually see on the walls the sponsorships. There's a Forza Motorsport right there.
That's hilarious.
So if you've driven this track in Forza Motorsport, and we'll ride along with Eric as we go, it is a really, really fun track. In Assetto, the inconsistency of the pavement makes it very challenging in a certain braking points. And in this right-hander, you're going to be trail braking a little bit before picking up the throttle halfway through the double apex there. Flat out through here, you can open up DRS anywhere on this track for the car. There's no DRS points, so that it's really up to the drivers. That is one major difference between our series and real life F1. There's no really any rules with DRS, except you can only open them in the DRS zones. For certain tracks where there are no DRS zones, you can open the rear wing as much as you'd like. So we're just watching Eric Ghoukasian's driver go through here. It's a downhill outward banking braking zone here. Easy to lose the rear if you get on the brakes a little bit too hard, and it tightens up on this right-hander right here. So watch for overtakes there. There's a little bit of room to try to squeeze in front of a car before the tunnel. Left-hander here, you can get on the gas really early, flat out through this section, and this is where the tricky braking comes that I was talking about earlier. There's going to be a couple bumps in the road here, right there. If you're not careful, you can lose the rear here. Braking into here, there's a change in the pavement as well where you can lose the rear. Get back on the power here. Just go patiently through this section and back on the throttle, down the main straight, flat out across the line. Let's see where Eric places P12. Not bad. Will be ahead of Meliori, well, was ahead of Meliori. And we've got Steven Tomazic provisionally on pole with a 121.8. 1/10 ahead of Carlos in the Honda. Nast puts himself up in P2 for McLaren. And where is the other McLaren? P11. Sorry, what were you going to say?
So I was going to say Steven Tomazic rocking out with his big block out. That is awesome.
Yeah, the +6 really doing wonders for the BMW team here. Look at that pace. A whole 10th up on the McLaren. And the McLaren team, on paper, fastest car by a really, really wide margin. Nast really showing it, but Milo maybe dropping the ball a bit. P14 for Milo.
I see Jake Wells in chat here sweating it because his AI is not doing as well as he's shown his improvement in ACC. Jake, it takes some time. You got to just practice more, buddy. That's all it takes.
You just got to tell your AI to, put in the hours. Get on the simulator. But it is, once again, a really, really close field. I think, first play, P1 all the way down to P19, separated by less than 0.8 of a second. So, if you've just finished 1/10 of a second faster, you're up 4 positions. So, a bit challenging. This will be actually the first time Meliori finishes outside of the top 5, I think, in qualifying. Qualifying has been her strong suit. A little bit of hold up on her first hot lap, but I don't think that matters that much. Look at Steven Tomazic's car fly by that Mercedes into the first banked bend there.
Tomazic taking no prisoners whatsoever, just going out there to get a job done. I think he had some unfortunate events last week and caught up in some crashes, which shows in I don't think he's got as many points as he would like, but looking pretty positive this week. BMW on the trot, as they say.
And we've got about 17 seconds. The drivers get in their final lap here. Nast for McLaren, P2, only 1/10 off. Carlos, 15 milliseconds off of him in the pits already. Chris McNichol for Red Bull. Red Bull looking to overtake Mercedes here if they can get their cars ahead. And I think it's going to look good for them as the Mercedes drivers down in P16. And let's see, who's the other Mercedes driver? John Hawley. Hawley in P11. So P11, P16. Gonna be hard pressed to score points to hold on to their lead in the WDC, as well as trying to overtake Red Bull for the WCC. And I think the Red Bull drivers are going to try to take the lead of the WDC. Honestly, though, all the drivers relatively close. It's only been 4 rounds. A big 29-point win from Steven Tomazic here will put him in contention for the WDC lead in probably 1 or 2 races time.
It's important to note that right now Red Bull's P1 in the championship and the team championship with 86 points. Mercedes P2 with 68, and looking like who do we have? P3, Honda in P3 with 55. So this relative delta in the points between Mercedes and Red Bull is critical for Mercedes to try and get up there, and doesn't look like they're going to do it. Wow, there you have it. Looks like got Steven Tomazic in P1, Nast P2, Carlos in P3, Chris McNichol 4th, Kevin Huffman in the 5th position, box admin over there, Jira in 6th, Jace Wright in 7th. I remember. I try. Puddin in 8th. Do we have a driver change?
No, it's Tom Scantron. Okay. But specified that the driver name would be put in, so there you have it.
Okay. Kronos in 9th, and Scott Sullivan rounding up the top 10. It's a phenomenal.
2 Renaults in the top 10, 2 Red Bulls in the top 10, both Hondas in the top 10. We've got a BMW P1, Steven Tomazic has had some tough races in P1 right now. Provisional pole has the McLaren of Nast right behind. I think that'll be a huge struggle. John Hawley in P11 could look to push Mercedes up in the WCC points. Both Toyota cars outside of the points. A huge shock for Anthony Bianco, who has a relatively quick car, down in P22, P18 for Joyce, of the other Ferrari driver. So Joyce and Anthony out of the top 10, which is a bit of a shock given the Ferrari performance here. But we'll
Josie,
see.
report back from the pit lane. Ferrari forgot to put their qualifying tires on. Standard Ferrari things.
All right, we're good to get the formation lap going. It's not really a full lap. We are just going to have the cars get the tower set, and then we'll restart the race here. We do run into some issues here with the ACTV tower. Every once in a while, it doesn't load all the cars, which is why we have this formation lap. All right.
All right, Josie, you're going to take that out lap?
Sure. 5 lights on, 6 lights on. And they're off. Nast and Steven off to a good start here. I think Steven should be able to hold it. Down the straight they go. It's going to be tricky into turn 1. The Honda flying into P2. Nast tries to hold on around the outside. Should be able to go side by side with the Honda, but the Honda takes P2 ahead with Carlos into P2. Kevin Huffman coming into P4. McNichol P5 loses a position to the Alfa Romeo. So Red Bull down a position, and I think the Alfa Romeo is going to gain 2 positions here. Passes the McLaren. We've got the Williams of Jace Wright coming in P6. Chronotis, the other Red Bull, up into P7 now. Dida in P8, put in P9. Hawley gets up to P10. So we've got one of the Mercedes into the points here, but Scott Sullivan going to fight back into this corner. It's going to be a tricky corner to go through. And I think Scott's going to have a shot here on the outside if he can squeeze. This is the squeeze that I was talking about earlier. If you can get your car side by side through the tunnel, you'll have another look on the inside here. And I think that'll be Scott Sullivan holding on to P10 for now. They might go side by side into the bridge section and the bumpy section. Mercedes and Renault might have a collision here. And somehow they managed to go side by side. No issues there.
Crazy as they go side by side through most of the lap in the street section nonetheless.
It's Yuta under attack from the Renault now. Scott really putting it on. Sullivan having a look into turn 1 on the inside. Should be able to get the move done. Honda, yeah, gets beat back here. Meanwhile, Steven Tomazic, 1.1 seconds in the lead off of 1 lap. Has put almost 2 seconds between him and Carlos here. 1.2 now, 1.3. Every moment, Steven is just pulling out in the lead. Meanwhile, McNichol and Wright fighting for P5 here, but Huffman got past Nast for a while, but the McLaren able to climb back up onto the podium positions. I expect Nast is going to look to try to have a run on Carlos here. 5/10. We'll have a slipstream. And then once he frees himself ahead of the Honda, if he can get past the Honda, might be able to have a look at the BMW. The McLaren having significantly better performance here. And Nast, a very strong driver in his own right. Got to nail that double apex here to get a good run onto the main straight into turn 1. If you can get it on the inside into turn 1, we've seen Scott Sullivan do it. And John Hawley, huge drop in position, down to P13 now. Dida has dropped down to P10 for Honda, is right behind Scott Sullivan. Chronotis still in P8. Putin has gone up to P7. McNichol still in P5 for Red Bull.
I gotta tell you, this just brings back so many memories, this track. This is amazing. I'm sure we've got a bunch of people who've been racing at Prague on Forza before, and it's just so fantastic to see in this setting. But yeah, what a fantastic performance by Tomazic up there.
Huffman and the Sauber really defending well against the Red Bull. I believe the Sauber has slightly less performance than the Red Bull. I don't think the gap is that wide, but I think this season so far, Sauber has really struggled to keep their car in the top 10.
Josie, I'm seeing some back and forth between myself and Aaron Miller there. Admin on admin battle in the 14th, 15th position. Just nip and tuck between the two drivers there.
Got Jake Wells getting past Miller here. The BMW has looking like their package is really strong. I think Jake Wells started P18 up into P15 now. We'll be chasing Eric down in P14. Milo, the other McLaren, has really struggled to move up. Ooh, John Hawley almost loses it there, trying to get past Jacob Church, the other Sauber. And yeah, Milo's really been struggling to get the most out of the McLaren despite having the fastest car on the grid. And I think that that's been the story of the season, is McLaren has really struggled to get everything out of the car. The drivers have been a little bit of the weak point here. Nast almost had a look at Carlos there, but Carlos, strong defense in the banked section here. And McNichol on Huffman. This has been an ongoing battle. Sauber versus Red Bull. McNichol needs to look out. If he has a bad look on Huffman, might have some vulnerability to right behind him in the Williams. And Williams performing way stronger than the real life counterpart here.
You know, we're hearing from our e-news reporters that Milo's been busy raising baby twins. Been getting lots of sleepless nights, maybe affecting his driving in the Synthodrive Championship.
All over the back of John Hawley now, the Mercedes. Mercedes is struggling. John Hawley starting in P9, has dropped 3 positions. Might be dropping another one to the McLaren of Milo now. Baby twins or not, gonna be a strong push into turn 1. Can he brake later? Hawley tries to close the door, will have the door shut. And Milo needs to have another look, another shot into that. Meanwhile, Nast, side by side with Carlos, will be on the outside. Ooh, close to the wall there. And I think the Honda has to back off here as the McLaren has the inside. That'll be Nast up into P2. Meanwhile, Steven Tomazic hasn't been able to pull away cleanly. The Honda has another look.
Oh, Nast's got to be careful here. Carlos Guzman, known to be a little bit of a bumpy driver in ACC as he hones his craft. But looking like he's doing a fantastic job as an AI represented driver. Good job, Carlos. Fantastic performance.
Yeah, very, very clean racing there. No contact. And Steven Tomazic has to look out now. The McLaren closing on that BMW every second. Took a while to get past Carlos Guzman here. Can Nast make a move on Steven? Last corner, last lap. He's got the pace. Can he get the pass up done? No, he will not. It's Steven Tomazic on pole. It's Steven Tomazic for the win, holding off the McLaren all the time for 5 whole laps in a significantly inferior car.
Steven Tomazic, a race with no incidents. What a fantastic finish for our not British driver, but British driver in the Synthodrive Championship. Wow, that was amazing. Right back to the line there. A phenomenal drive. Nast multi-championship at the Haisojoko championship, and multi-championship, multi-team principal champion and driver champion. Really bringing it to Steven, but just didn't quite have enough there at that race through the final lap. Wow. Josie, love Prague. I forgot about Prague. It's been a little while since I committed myself to ACC, but it was such a cool thing to see it back in our streams, in our championship, in our community. That was awesome. That was so much fun.
Yeah, and it makes for a really good racing. I think the AI line through that track is just really well made, whoever made it. So fantastic racing all the time. Got a lot of overtakes. I don't think I had much time to talk about what was going on elsewhere in the season. I think it was action all the way through.
Yeah, no, it's cool. Cool to see. Interesting. Interesting dynamic between the two McLaren cars. With Nast being so strong in performance, Milo, as we said, just busy prioritizing family life these days. But yeah, just crazy to see the driver difference within the same car. Just like in real life, sometimes you get the good Daniel Ricciardo in a Red Bull, and you get the bad Daniel Ricciardo in a Renault. So um, it happens. This is
Yeah, the
racing.
the McLaren Daniel Ricciardo is definitely the struggle bus Daniel Ricciardo, I'll say.
Struggle bus Daniel Ricciardo for sure.
Yeah. Steven Tomazic, race winner now. Pole sitter, race winner. BMW here will get 27 points.
Yeah, well, so
Nast. Mhm.
while you do those point upgrades, I'm gonna bring Steven Tomazic in for a P1 interview as he is in our green room. Mr. Tomazic coming in with a big race win, big pole position, big race win in race 5 at the second week of Synthodrive. How are you feeling, sir?
After that, I am pumped. This AC BMW is going to take the win, and we're going to win the rest of the season.
Oh, big words coming in from Tomazic. Really really getting every bit of performance he could out of that BMW at Prague. Really challenging circuit, tight, but makes it last to the very end. Anything else you want to say, Steven, before you head out?
I'm just glad to be here, guys.
All right, thank you, Steven. I'm going to pop you back up. Steven Tomazic, one of our commentators here at Trackalicious, and
Thank you,
the
Steven.
AI winner of the 5th race at Prague here at Synthodrive.
Yeah, fantastic drive from him. I thought it would be really, really close with the McLaren performance at the end there. I think Nast was putting in something 1.2 seconds faster on the final lap of that race. The McLaren was compared to the BMW. Nast takes the fastest lap as well, so that'll be a bonus 2 points to Nast. Bonus 2 points to Steven Tomazic for taking pole position. So Steven will have 27 points this round, 27 points for BMW. Steven's last big roundup of points was round 1 at Mugello, where he scored P5 for 10 points. He's since put the car into P10 twice at Bahrain and at Interlagos, but the car has not been there. This +6 upgrade really, really helping out. Takes pole position and the race win. And quick shout out to Carlos as well. Carlos had a fantastic drive. Carlos took Nas in turn 1, and then I think it was Kevin Huffman who got past Nas as well. So Nas had to fight through 2 cars to catch back up to Steven. And I think that's a huge part of why the BMW didn't have to defend from the McLaren as long. And huge props to Carlos, who drove a fantastic race defending from Nas. Did lose the position at the end, but still on the podium for 15 points for Honda. Not to be understated, Honda has been quietly racking up points between Carlos and Jita. I think if they keep going the way they're going to be in the contention for the constructors title for sure.
Yeah, and that race brings Steven well into the mid pack from the bottom. Now standing at, I believe, where are you, Mr. Tomazic? I just had it and I lost it, and I have it again. 39 points. 39 points out of the top driver, Meliori, still at 60. So a little bit of catching up to do, but looking strong. So Steven, looking pretty hopeful, sounding very confident in the booth and on the podium, looking to make up the difference in the points in the races coming forward. So, Mr. Josie, we got some upgrades coming up here.
Yes, indeed. But first, really quick, I'm going to put in that race. McLaren was the fastest car on paper. Remember, team principles, if you would like to challenge another team for cheating, do let me know in the chat or in a DM on Discord. If you would like to cheat, let me know in a DM on Discord as well. Let me know privately so that you don't get called out if you're trying to cheat.
So, again, just for those that don't know, right? What Josie has implemented in this fantastic championship is the unique opportunity to cheat. We all know that in racing, people sometimes get ahead by cheating. Very intelligent cheats, very smart cheats. Sometimes they get caught and sometimes they don't. And that's what's been integrated in here. What happens is that every team has the opportunity to have a cheat once a season, once or one race a season. And what that does, it gives them secret upgrades. Now,
That are
if
persistent. Yeah.
which continues for the rest of the season. Now, if somebody calls them out and says, "Hey, I think this team cheated," which everybody gets one call out a season, there is a role that potentially outs the cheat. If more people call them out, then there's a higher likelihood that the cheater gets caught. So again, just like in real life, Josie's implemented the system. Super cool in my opinion. But yeah, this possible complexity that's in there that people have the opportunity to do. Some decide not to cheat. Some decide to cheat. You don't know. I don't know. Actually, Josie knows, and the cheaters know, and it's up to you guys to find out. So maybe those in chat, if you got some suggestions that the team principals can take on, if you see any patterns, any traits, anything that you think that might stand out that you want to call a cheater out on, now's a good chance to do that.
And do keep in mind that the round that you call out the cheating, the team that is accused of cheating will have to do a roll. Tell me what the roll number is, or I suppose Eric will do the roll and tell me what the roll number is. And based on the amount that they cheat, it's how difficult it is to get away with the cheating. So say you go with a small cheat upgrade of a +1 total performance on your car. That's relatively easy to get away with. If you go for something massive, say the maxed out amount of +5, you're going to have to take a really, really strong roll to not get caught. So here we're going to get the next round.
And what happens when you do cheat?
You get
You get caught.
If you get caught, you get disqualified from the race that you get caught in. So that gives the challenger some tactical strategy involved. Say if you challenge a team and they qualified P1 and P2, and they have a 1-2 finish on the line here in the race, that finish can be disqualified if they were caught cheating. So that'll play big if, and we've seen this in other AI racing series, where it does come down to about 5 to 10 points at the end of the season sometimes, and every point counts. And if you're caught cheating and you get disqualified in a late round, that could cost you the championship in the constructors and the drivers championship. So a little bit of strategy. If you don't challenge early, then they get away with having the extra performance for longer. But if you challenge too early and they haven't cheated, then you will have wasted your challenge. So it's a bit of kind of playing that patience game of trying to figure out when the opponent has cheated. And usually it's easier to string a picture together after you've seen a car's performance for a couple rounds, and if it doesn't line up with what you think the car's performance should be.
So while Josie plugs in some of the information in the background, let's have a look at our calendar and see what we got coming here at TRACKILICIOUS. For those of you who don't know, our main thing is running ACC races. We got Porsche Cups on Sundays. We got GT3 Championship on Sundays. I believe this week we are going to Watkins Glen, which is going to be super fun. We got also some special events coming up. If you're looking for something weird, fun, crazy to do, we got absolutely max rain in Britain at Silverstone on the December 21st. 2 doubleheader, 2 20-minute races. This is going to be crazy. I mean, I was watching Quinn Smith run a lap because we were testing, and you cannot go straight on the straight with full throttle. It is incredible. It's going to be such a fun race. If you haven't done so already, go on to SimGrid, sign up. I think it's going to be super fun. What else do we have going on? Monday, GT4 rookies. This is such an exciting season as we see new rookies joining us and developing their skill. Then going into the GT4 Open Series, and we see some of the most incredible racing, incredible driving. Our highest skill rated championship right now at TRACKILICIOUS, out of nowhere. It's the first season we're running, and it's already the most competitive one. And then finally, the Thursday GT3 reverse grid races have been so much fun to watch. I commentated on one last week, I think it was. Yeah, the last week, November 30th, and I could not stop talking, and I could completely hoarse throat for a good 13 minutes, non-stop wheel-to-wheel action. It was fantastic, super exciting. So join us! Exclamation point SimGrid. I will put that in here. All right, looks like someone's already got it. So yeah, it's awesome. Thank you so much. Join us. It's exciting. Going into our appreciation segment. You know, we have so many people that support us here at TRACKILICIOUS, allow us to do what we do. And a huge shout out and huge thank you to all of our patrons, our V12 exotic patrons, the biggest and baddest of the TRACKILICIOUS community, with so much donation that super helps us out. And then in with the V8 muscle and inline 4 cars, all of them helping us out. Thank you so much to all of the donors, everybody in here. Super appreciative of what you guys do for us and allow us to do for you back. Thank you all again. As we go back into the booth and add up some scores. Josie, how are we looking in the back end here?
We are looking good, ready for upgrades if you are.
I am super ready, super excited.
Awesome. We've got most of the teams blowing the final amount of their budget here in round 6. Most of the teams will have spent most of their budget here. Williams will be taking a break from upgrading this round. So we'll be starting off with the small for Red Bull.
A small for Red Bull. Red Bull already leading the season. We have a fresh roll for Red Bull going in with a 3. Bringing a little bit of balance to the championship. Red Bull, weak roll for them. But yeah, still looking strong in the championship.
Next is a large for Ferrari.
All right, Anthony Bianco here. Looking for some big numbers in these die. Probably lurking in the background as he usually does. And if you're around, this is for you, a 12. That is pretty average on the high side. You know, better 12 than an 8.
Yeah,
so
not bad at all.
Good.
That'll be a +4 for Ferrari. They're gonna need that moving forward, and this actually puts them quite high up in the midfield here. But I think most of the cars are in the midfield. Next will be a small for Sauber.
Small for Sauber, a fresh roll for Sauber. But, you know, Ferrari's had some really good rolls today. I think it's going to push them up in the championship and in the next coming races. So let's see how this goes. And we're doing a fresh roll for Sauber. That's a 15 for Sauber. Huge roll.
Super good for Sauber. +2. That'll be +2 performance for cost of 1 budget. So that'll be huge. The next 3 rolls are medium. So Honda, Renault, and BMW are going mediums. You can roll them 1 by 1 or 3 rolls at the same time, and then just tell me the die.
Josie, I've watched you do it, and I have learned how to do 3 rolls in a row. So we are gonna roll the 3 D20 die, and we're going for a fresh roll here, and we have, wow, that is phenomenal. We have a 17 for the first roll, a 20 for the second roll, and a 16 for the third roll. What an unbelievable group of die here.
Yeah, that's great. Imagine if that was someone's driver score roll. That would be huge. So a +4 for Honda, a +4 for Renault, and a +3 for BMW. We'll see the midfield still very, very packed in terms of performance. I think that's good for us as viewers. Maybe not so good for the teams. The teams will be close in performance. This will actually see Honda very close to McLaren now at a grand total of +17 on paper relative to McLaren's +19 on paper. Next, we've got Audi with a large.
A single large. All right, Audi, hoping for something in the higher echelon of numbers. You get a 9. That's decent, you know? Not great, not bad.
Yeah,
Middle
that's a
ground,
break even. Yep.
You got some upgrades.
Yeah, that'll be +1 per budget spent. So +3 for 3 budgets spent. Not bad, not great. It'll just kind of sit them where they are. Next will be 2 mediums, 1 for Toyota, 1 for Mercedes. McLaren will not be upgrading this round. They will be upgrading in round 7.
All right, so going for a fresh roll, we have, oh, Snake Eyes, a 1 and a 1. That's horrible.
Unfortunate. That'll be +1 for both teams. And they're lucky they weren't small, so they're not going backwards in development here. But it will only be a +1 for Toyota and only a +1 for Mercedes.
Goodness, Mercedes, big push for the championship. This is not what you want to see, but representative of their performance in real life this season. Just not able to catch up to that Red Bull prowess, no matter how hard Toto smashes that table.
Yeah, and I'm just going to put these upgrades in now as we get ready for the next round.
Alrighty, and that is the end of this round's rolls. Wow, that was crazy. Got some crazy rolls. And Josie, I don't know, I'm learning just as much as most of the people are viewing the championship here. Do we know what the driver upgrade totals are? Like, is that something we can communicate?
Yeah, so you can calculate it by looking at the spreadsheet. I'll usually read out where the top couple cars are in terms of total upgrades. I don't have it publicly posted anywhere because it's included in where everyone's budgets and who's cheating, who's not cheating. So it's all on one page there.
Okay.
I could put it out on the sheet, but it changes from week to week. So it will be an extra thing that we have to change. So in the interest of not holding up transitions between things, I haven't made it public, but we could if you would like.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's something we could potentially provide the stream down the road just so that we know where these upgrades are, just so that we could maybe give them an opportunity to see where the cheats are. Now, this is publicly available information, so if you are really eager to find out where these cars are doing and how they're doing, you could easily take this information and add it up. You know, the sheets are available publicly. Everyone can see it.
Could get a calculator out.
Yeah. Got to make you do some work to earn this championship win. But yeah, Mercedes coming in with that one towards the end is definitely not going to help their drive, especially considering Red Bull's nearly 30 point lead from P2, and then P2, P3, and P4 in the championship. 70, 69, and 68 points from Honda, from McLaren, Mercedes. Wow, that is a close championship for P2. Honda doing pretty strong. McLaren looking like a strong car. The Mercedes coming in pretty weak on the rolls today.
Yeah, and they're equal with Red Bull in performance. So Red Bull, Ferrari, and Mercedes all equal in performance with a +12. BMW with a +12. So BMW, who are really far behind in the upgrades at the beginning of the week, the first week of racing, the first 4 races, now up to +12. All 4 of those teams at the +12 have fallen behind actually a little bit. Sauber with the +14, Honda with a +17, Renault with a +15, and McLaren with a +19. In between those teams will be Toyota with a +13. We've got Audi with a +11, +12s for Red Bull. Oh, we already talked about that. And Williams lagging a little bit here with the +10.
Theoretical Williams, theoretically fast, but practically slow. That's an inside Trackalicious joke, by the way, Josie. We had someone a couple of seasons ago, coming in and saying, theoretically, Williams has the best aerodynamics. And we all just went, if it had the best aerodynamics, it'd be a lot faster than it is right now.
Yeah,
no matter how bad the powertrain is. But hey, theoretical Williams is the best car on the grid. The Armenian Audi brothers, Armen Ghazarian and Ghoukasian, looking pretty weak. Those bad upgrades.
Had a super strong start to the season for sure.
Yeah, we've been spending too much money on painting our cars white, tinting the windows, and putting rims on them. Yeah, fantastic. Well, we got a little bit of music here in the background by yours truly, Forza Motorsport driver, in fact, Chris Larande. Fantastic composer. Check him out on SoundCloud. Really interesting music. I loved his series that was actually paying homage to each of the Mortal Kombat drivers. I super love that. So he had one for Liu Kang, one for Sonya Blade, one for all of the different characters that are in there. I really enjoyed listening through those tracks. You should too. Check him out on SoundCloud. Chris Larande. Sorry, I'm being corrected. Larande Alpha on SoundCloud. Mike Noss dropping the link. Great music from him. All right. Back to the booth indeed. Let's see. So, Josie, what are we doing now? We got some of the upgrades in there. We're looking at the points. We see that Honda's coming in strong. McLaren's coming in strong. They're at 70 and 69 points. We got Red Bull in the lead, but the car just not as strong, not as good on the upgrades. I think this is going to shape up to be pretty interesting next couple of races.
Yeah, we're going to see if Red Bull can hold on here. We're going to Spa next. So typically, very performance-oriented track. The car performance will matter a lot. Qualifying will matter a lot. So timing of when the drivers go out on track will matter a lot, as if you get impeded or blocked, like Meliori did last race, you can see that it really, really hinders you from getting a good finish. So all the teams will be taking some risks here if they go out later. If they go out earlier, they could get blocked by another team. So a little bit of a give and take there. Good to go for qualifying if you guys are.
Yeah, so we're going to take a second as we're having some technical changes in the background and going to move over to the race in a second. You know, this has been exciting to see so far. I'm just looking at these points here. The Drivers' Championship so close. Meliori leading with a 60. Chris McNichol, 55. Kernotis next with a 45, both Red Bull drivers, as we could see in the champion. Nast in 42, coming in strong, really pulling his weight in that team in McLaren, with Milo kind of lagging behind, but hopefully we'll see some improvements with Milo coming through. Gira in next, coming up with 40 points. Tamazic with 39, coming with huge amounts of confidence, ready to rock and roll. And we are ready to go back to the qualifying. And we are at the 6th round of the Synthodrive Championship at Spa-Francorchamps in the lovely Belgium.
Got Audi out first. So Armin going out early here.
Bling, bling, Armin, bling, bling. That's all I got to say.
It is a very, very good looking car. Very good looking color scheme. I really like it.
We spent our budget on the paint job, clearly.
You know what's funny is the helmet. I actually spent like 10 minutes changing Sebastian Vettel's helmet to match the color scheme of the Audi livery.
Yeah, we appreciate it. It really improves our performance there, Josie.
Well, I was using the default Assetto helmet. It was kind of ugly, so. And it was like a solid one color that didn't match the car. So that's a little bit of a backstory to why the helmet looks like Sebastian Vettel's. If you notice that, that's because it is Sebastian Vettel's helmet, just taking off some sponsors and swap the color scheme around a little bit. Right behind Armin Ghoukasian is Milo in the McLaren. And Milo, that's a risky outlap timing. We'll put him right behind the Audi. I think might get held up by the Audi on the hot lap here. So, yeah, I feel like things have just gone so poorly for Milo. Has had the fastest car, has had really, really terrible luck in qualifying, terrible luck in races, has had that one race win. So, you know, definitely the performance is there. Milo, the driver performance is there. I think just certain times has been held up in qualifying maybe. Has had some race incidents maybe. So not sure what's going on. Maybe just a little bit of inconsistency as well from the driver. So this is one of those tracks. Yes, sorry.
Sorry. Interestingly enough, I think we've seen Milo come out early several times in the last week as well. He was like the first one out of the pits. I think 2 races in a row or something like that. Something that was noted about him coming out early. But yeah, unfortunate positioning for him right on behind the lesser performing Audi of Armin Ghoukasian. But yeah, why don't we walk through a bit of the lap here with Milo and Armin. Milo really eager to get past.
And so sweeping right-hander here into the left-hander. Forgive me, I don't know how to pronounce the names of all these corners. I have them up here, except maybe Pujon. I know Pujon. And actually in the 2020 Mercedes cars, the W11, that double apex corner, you could take flat out. So if you watch Lewis Hamilton's onboard from his qualifying lap, He goes absolutely flat there and is kind of crazy. Spa is an interesting track because you need a lot of downforce, but you can't have too much. Ooh, wow. Yeah, Blanchimont flies past the Audi on Blanchimont. And it's kind of going back to what I said earlier. The car performance will matter a lot as we come to the chicane here. This chicane, particularly tricky with the elevation change there. Very easy to lose the rear of the car if you're not careful. We've seen drivers try to overtake there as well. The sausage curb will put you up in the air onto another car, into another car. La Source always a chaotic turn one. And Milo puts his car up in P1 provisional pole.
Josie, I don't know about you, but La Source is one of my least favorite corners in all of ACC because there is just so much to gain or lose, and I suck at it. And it's really there, you know, because you're going to Eau Rouge, you're going through Radion, you're going through the Camel Straight, all the way up to Lecombe, as Milo is doing here, and it's so critical. Every single millimeter, every single kilometer an hour, tenth of a kilometer an hour matters at La Source, and obviously yours truly, sucking at everything that he possibly cannot figure that corner out.
You know what is funny? I find that at La Source and turn one at Monza, I feel like every single racing game I've ever played where there's multiplayer, it seems as if everybody's brains just kind of turn off at those corners. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just me. But there's been many times I'll gain like 8 positions just braking a little bit earlier, going a little bit wide, and letting other people take each other out.
Josie Koo with OP strategies. You only heard it here, folks.
Yeah. Well, you say that, but I've also braked late and slammed into other people and taken out 5 cars and gotten very harsh penalties for it.
We're not talking about that. We're not talking about that. We just talk about the positives here, Josie.
I'm hearing "pick your battles" in my ear for sure. For sure, pick your battles. And it's a Honda on provisional pole, 147.5 with Jace Wright 39 milliseconds behind. Milo was down in P5, puts himself up into pole position in the McLaren. Last in the top 5 as well.
Not Milo hearing us talk shit about his performance over the past couple of races. And yeah, finally coming in. Massive performance.
We've got Joyce up in P4. So that's a huge jump from where Ferrari were last race. I think Ferrari has been kind of on a back foot. I think their upgrade schedule has been a bit conservative. I think their upgrade plan has been conservative. I think that's what Anthony Bianco was going for. And seemingly the conservative strategy not paying off. But we've seen both conservative and aggressive strategies work out long-term over the course of a season. But it is a shorter season, 12 races instead of 24. So that we might see a shift in the meta. I think front loading will be extremely powerful in this format. So maybe that's why Ferrari's struggling here a little bit, not really front loading a lot of the performance. It's certainly working out for McLaren.
Yeah, what's interesting to see is Kevin Huffman up there. I think we were battling mid-pack, maybe a bit lower in the last week of races, but this week he seems to have found some magic. Huffman in 6th place and doing pretty well in the last race as well. So good job, box 3 admin there, Kevin Huffman. Fantastic performance out at Spa-Francorchamps.
Yeah, I do believe actually the Sauber is one of the top performing cars. Let me take a look at what their total performance is right now. I think, yeah, Sauber's at plus 14. Slower than only McLaren, Renault, and Honda. So they're the 4th fastest car on the grid right now. Everyone else in the midfield a little bit slower.
So I just realized something. I know Jake's been a little bit upset about his performance thus far, and I realize why he should be that upset, maybe even more, because he is Tomaszek's teammate in the BMW. Tomašek doing phenomenally well today, and Jake just showing up with a full 0 points. Come on, Jake, let's get up there.
Well, he's definitely gonna be doing slightly better this race. He's P10 right now, 2 positions ahead of Tamazic, who is having an interesting qualifying. I'm not sure if he got held up. Maybe he got held up, but it's Nas behind, so it's unlikely that he was held up behind a McLaren. Maybe it's just a poor quali session here for the BMW driver. Had a huge jump in performance last race.
Yeah, Milo looking pretty solid up there.
Yeah, 10th and a half up on the Ferrari of Joyce, who has just put in another lap faster than her last lap. So only 1/10 off Milo. Not enough to get the Ferrari up into the top 10. But Eric, why don't you walk us through the cars here?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have finished qualifying here at Spa-Francorchamps. We have in P1 Milo in the McLaren, P2 Joyce coming in. I don't even know what car she's in the Ferrari. Third place is Carlos. Jace right in 4th place. Nast in 5th. Kevin Huffman bringing up the 6th place in the Sauber. Maybe I should do this a little bit better by looking at your stream and not the TRACKILICIOUS stream, so I can actually see what car you're on. Put in the Renault in 7th place. Jacob Church coming in at 8th in the Alfa Romeo. Is that the Alfa or is that the Sauber? Is that the Sauber?
Well, Alfa Romeo is just the title partner, I guess.
Yeah, it's the Sauber. Jake, and then who we have? Maliori in the Mercedes. Jake Wells in the BMW coming up to 10th place. Big improvement by Jake Wells. John Hawley in 11th. Let's go through it. John Hawley in 11th. Tamazic in 12th. Armin Razarian in the Audi in 13th. Gira in 14th in the Honda. Justin Muffet in the blue, whatever it is. Toyota in 15th place. Kernotis in 16th in the Red Bull. Justin Beachley in the Williams in 17th. Chris McNichol in the Red Bull in 18th. Big drop in performance for the Red Bull boys. Scott Sullivan in the Renault in 19th. Eric Ghoukasian in the Audi in 20th. Rounding out the bottom of the field with Aaron Miller in the Toyota and Anthony Bianco in the Ferrari, yet again forgetting to put the correct tires on.
Not sure what's going on with Anthony Bianco. 2 races in a row, P22, in one of the faster cars on the, or one of the midfield cars on the grid, is quite shocking, especially given if you look at Anthony's junior category history. Anthony has had a phenomenal junior category history, so not sure what's going on with the Ferrari team. Maybe it's just Ferrari doing Ferrari things, but we'll see. We're gonna get going on the formation lap here.
Ferrari fulfilling the meme of the pit box or of Leclerc calling in for tires and the pit box asking 3 or 4. Well, this
you gotta feel for Leclerc.
Oh my goodness. You gotta. I mean, it's it's interesting to see a lot of the drivers in here getting so frustrated about our sim racing championships. Things happen, people crash, they get really mad. Some to the point of actually quitting the server, which really upsets me. I'd hate for anyone to leave being upset. But you imagine the millions of dollars that go into those situations, and not only that, but the lifetime of driving to do things well, and then you get let down by the prancing horse, the legend, the scarlet car.
It really is crazy to me that Ferrari can't seem to get it together.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know what it is. Like, I feel like they have so many components that are right, but they need to get all their stuff in a bag and get it together. You know what I mean? But 2 McLarens in the top 5, a Ferrari in the top 5, Honda in the top 3, Ferrari in the top 3, Jace right P4. I believe someone said Jace for podium. That'll be Beachley. So we'll see if a Williams can scramble ahead of Carlos here. Honda is the 2nd fastest car on the grid right now, so will seem unlikely to me, but let's get going.
As we have 6 lights here, and we are color. Green, green, green. Milo getting a pretty decent start. Josie looking on the outside with Carlos Guzman looking to try and overtake both of them, or at least Josie into T1. Does a pretty good job in La Source, but no, is actually falling behind. Josie maintaining that P2 position. Milo having a really good run in Eau Rouge and Radion. Josie looking for a more optimal line than before.
Ooh.
Oh, little wiggle. That was scary. I would never have been able to catch that myself, but then again, Josie has much more skill than I do. Carlos now trying to take advantage of that wiggle, pushing himself into P2 outside, going into this bit of a chicane type situation here. I don't remember what the name is, but Milo walking away while Josie and Carlos are fighting away for P2. Carlos again on the outside. Is he going to be able to make it? This almost like feels a little bit off camber, but really cambered in on the inside here. This is where the off cambered corner comes into place. Josie really fighting hard to maintain that P2 position, is able to do so.
Huge crash.
And a huge crash. Who do we have here? Ajira. Big crash in the back end. What happened there?
I'll have to watch a bit of a replay here. Oh,
Optimistic. Oh,
that's
Chronotis.
a huge hit from Chronotis.
Sorry to say, Chrono, but that won't be the first time this week.
That might be a penalty.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Both real life Chrono and AI Chrono causing absolute havoc this week. Wow. Oh my goodness. Is that literally the same corner? Mike. What are the odds? But yeah, going on with the race. Jake Wells having dropped down now, unfortunately.
4 positions.
Yeah, fantastic qualifying for him, but just matching his season-long performance and a little bit of a weak drive. Who is the other BMW driver? Oh, Tomazic. So you know what? Maybe it's the car this time, Jake. It's not you. It's not you, it's me. If Tomazic can't put it up there, we don't expect you to do it. So Tomazic in 14th, or 13th, I should say. Jake Wells just behind in 14th place. We got a couple of little battles brewing up there. Jacob Church in 7th position, only half a second behind Puddin in 6th position. Is that going to be a battle? Is he going to be able to gain anything through the straight? A little bit too far behind that half a second. I don't think that's going to be enough. But
I think we're looking at Nas on Chase right here.
Oh, Nas, really strong drive. Is that going to be enough? Trying to shove it into the corner? No, decides better of it. It was too far back. Smart decision by Nas, but isn't giving up. Really trying to pressure Jace, right? Joystick Jace, as we call him, the controller king.
You know, it's crazy. I actually, one of the fastest drivers in my Assetto Corsa racing friend group is a controller player. Extremely fast on the controller. I don't know how some people do it. I could never. I tried. It is nigh impossible for me.
So I've been trying something interesting. While friends come over, because I'm too lazy to set up my second steering wheel, I've been driving on mouse and keyboard, and it's actually hilariously fun.
Foul. That is foul.
It's good fun. It makes things fair, like new people
That's
who
true.
don't know how
That
to
is
drive,
true.
and it keeps things a little bit more competitive. Just like when I play table tennis at my place, I'm a left-handed player, but most of the time when people come over, I play right-handed to try and keep things fair.
Self-balancing.
Yeah. But yeah, what do we have going on in the field here? Tomazic still in 13th place. Wells dropping down another position into 15th. Bit of a switch down for me as well, Jake. Just going down to hold your hand in the back.
I feel like the BMW shouldn't be dropping this much, but Steven's also dropping. So maybe it's the car, maybe it's damage. It's hard to say. This car in particular doesn't have damage modeling, so it doesn't really show damage on the car, except if the engine's on fire. But this race going a bit more processionally than last race, a little bit less overtaking. As I had said earlier, I do think that this race is a little more performance oriented, as we can see here. Nas has another look at Jace Wright into Lacombe. No good again. So Jace Wright, strong defense here.
Yeah, Joystick Jace, known to be quite a performer on the track has been doing a phenomenal job, but we can't call him Joystick Jace for too much longer. He is upgrading to wheel and pedals, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry to disappoint, but yeah, huge advancement for Joystick Jace, the controller king, coming in with some upgrades of his own, if you like. So Josie, tell us of the field that has your community members, who do we have on the very top?
So at the very top right now, reigning world champion is Jira, who is in last place in this race currently. Meliori, one of the best drivers to never have won a championship title. Obviously, there's Nast, who is known as Oijo. Ooh, it's close here. Oijo, in our series, that's his username in our series. He is, as stated before, multiple world champion as both team principal and as a driver. He retired for a couple years and then came out of retirement when one of his star drivers left the team. So he is a 3-time world champion, a 5-time constructors champion. So, and he has won for multiple teams. For Ferrari in his first championship, for Audi in his other 4. Joyce is a very good driver as well. Maybe top of the midfield, maybe not upper echelon as Nast and Jira are. A lot of really strong drivers, actually. I would actually say the driver score gap in my series is slightly wider than in this series. I think there is a huge emphasis to make sure that any driver could win a race for this series. So I do think the driver score system's slightly different.
Yeah,
that being said, the performance looks similar. I mean, the overtaking style.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, the one that I've been looking, I mean, the two standout ones, right, that we've seen are Nast and Milo. You know, Nast pretty much outperforming Milo in every race except this one. Milo coming up top, trying to make up the difference with the supercar that they've got going on. The other one was Tomazic and Wells, again, paired up fairly well this time around. But yeah, I think the other one that is notable right now is Josie and Bianco. Bianco in 20th, Josie in 2nd, both in the Ferrari. One running with 4 wheels, the other with 3, it seems. So yeah, those are the big driver differences.
Yeah, going into the season, I thought they would be. I thought Joyce and Ant would be the same in terms of performance, your driver skill, anyways. Their junior category records extremely close, extremely similar. And I thought Ferrari would be one of the top teams. They have been a little bit on the back foot in terms of upgrades, but who knows? Maybe they could turn it around. They've got upgrades pretty much every single race this leg of the season. So in week 2, their car is going to jump leaps and bounds. Maybe not at the level of McLaren. Ooh, yeah, Nas gets the overtake done. It's been a while. 3 wide into Lecom. Can they keep it together? They do. No incidents. That's rare. And Nas up into P4 has this final lap to try to catch Carlos. A battle that we saw in Prague earlier, but 2 seconds down. Ooh, and Jace Wright loses another position to the Renault of Putin. Putin gets by there on the coattails of Nas there. And that'll be pain for Williams, who was on schedule for P4, now in P6.
John Holly with team orders in chat. Allow Meliori through. trying to push that teammate to the drivers championship win there.
Yeah, Meliori is trying. Not for a lack of trying, but there goes John Hawley having a look at Kevin Huffman. Is he through? I think he's through. Yeah, he's through. Up into P8 on the final lap here. 2 corners to go. Huge move. Jake Wells gets past Justin Beachley. They've been battling it out for a while. Somehow Steven Tomazic down in P15. Not sure when that happened, but Milo, his 2nd race win of the season. This will jump him up significantly in the championship, and will jump McLaren up, as we've got 2 McLarens in the top 5, one in P1, one in P4.
Oh my goodness! But Carlos in the Honda. Who's Carlos's teammate? Who's the other Honda driver? Oh
Yeah, Jida got
no.
taken out by Chronotis, who has gotten a 5-second penalty. Not that it'll do much to drop him out of the points here.
Oh no. That is horrible. That is gonna really hurt them in the WDC? No.
Well, she was in contention for the drivers' championship. I think
No, but I was talking about the team
the const-
championships.
the
Yeah,
constructors title. I think they needed both cars in the top 10 there. But Carlos securing a podium 2 races in a row, P3 both races. That's 30 points total. That'll really keep Honda
a lot.
on pace.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think
Well,
Jitta's a very good driver. I think she can bounce back.
looking like a couple of issues out back. Jita on track, stopped. There you have it.
Fastest lap for Jitta actually. So could have made a lot of overtakes there. We'll get the 2 bonus points for fastest lap. Remember, in our series, we do not need to be in the top 10 to get the bonus points for fastest lap, and Jitta will secure that. Pole position for Milo. Practice session, Steven Tomazic, fastest overall with Scott Sullivan second fastest. But Milo takes P1 in quali. Joyce takes P2 in quali. And they finish P1 and P2 in the race. So, yep, you can go back to booth.
All righty. So, another fantastic race. A little bit low key, Spa giving a lot of room. I'm actually surprised we didn't run into any issues at Prague. That was, I thought we were for sure going to see an incident. We saw some really unique AI type crashes in the last week of racing. Honestly, I was kind of hoping for some more. It's exciting to see random stuff happen.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think Prague is one of those races where sometimes you get that crazy crash, and all it takes is one AI tapping a wall and sending it spinning into other cars. I think Prague is one of those races where the AI line is just so well done by whoever did it that the AI rarely crashes if they have the grip. Now, where we see the AI crashing a lot at Prague is if they're on, say, the non-slick spec cars. So the 2004 spec F1 car, the 2000 spec F1 car, those cars will struggle a little bit more at Prague, will go into walls a little bit when they try to send it into some of those bank corners flat out.
Yeah, that's interesting. Again, I have great memories of driving Prague in Forza, and it was just really fun to see that again. Bring back some memories of my not childhood, middlehood,
Middle hood.
my middlehood.
I know, I like that. I like the middle hood. You know who I feel bad for? I feel bad for Justin Beachley, who has scored a grand total of 6 points this season, but has had won 3 or 4 races in preseason testing. I feel like all the luck was spent in the preseason testing.
Yeah, I mean, Beachley has run a decent race. He just needs a good qualifying. Theoretical Williams just not coming through for him this season. But yeah, it's just got to get out there, do your best, bring in some points. But big turnaround for Milo.
Yeah, 54 points, 2 wins now for him this season. Both wins, he takes pole position as well. So when Milo is on pole, he has won the race. So if Milo can continue to get good qualities in, that'll bode well for the rest of his season, I think. Joyce P2. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say we got that team championship really shaping up to be super interesting right now as you update the charts.
We've got a tie at McLaren for drivers' points as well. So 10 points for Putin, 8 points for Jace Wright, 6 points for Jacob Church. So Sauber actually scoring some solid points. Despite the car, I didn't think the car was particularly quick, but I think they've been kind of flying under our radar. John Hawley, 4 points for Mercedes. And they're going to need every single point to try to hold on to whatever chance they have in the championship. It'll be 2 points for Kevin Huffman. So Sauber scores 8 points total this race. Not bad at all. Both drivers in the top 10 this race. Both drivers in the top 10 last race. We'll see if they can keep both drivers in the top 10 at Watkins Glen. And we've got Meliori, who was championship leader, who is still championship leader, rounding us off at the last position, P10 here. Meliori still in the lead of the WDC. And I think Mercedes have got to get their act together or something. I actually don't know if Mercedes still has any budget left. Yes, they do. That last upgrade was their last upgrade. So
I do have a question for Steven
Yes.
Tomazik, who is in chat here. Steven, how's your back feeling? Are you okay from having to carry Jake Wells through the past 7 races? I mean, I don't know about you, but mine would be breaking with a full 0 points. I mean, if it wasn't for the Indians creating the number 0, I mean, I don't even know what we would give Jake.
Yeah, tragic race at this last race at Spa as well. He was in P10 in quali, dropped down to P15. And I forgot to put 2 points here for Jira. So 17 points for Honda. It is getting really close in the WCC. We've got 4 teams kind of in it to win it right so far. We've got Red Bull at 100 points, Honda at 87 points, McLaren at 108, and Mercedes at 73. All 4 of those cars are quick, but McLaren and Honda stand out as the first and second fastest cars. So Mercedes and Red Bull have a lot of work to do if they want to hold on to being in contention for the Constructors' Championship. And with I believe both teams being out of budget, it's going to be tough for them to hold on. I think we're looking at Honda and McLaren having a strong finish here.
Welcome, J-Man. Thank you for the follow. Welcome to Synthodrive, our virtual AI team management and driver championship. All drivers being AI, but you can have your name represented. So as we are in week 2 of 3, with 12 races, 4 races in each night, coming up. This is basically literally the middle of the championship. Shaping up here, the McLaren just taking the lead out of Red Bull's hands. Red Bull having some super powerful upgrades at the start. McLaren coming in with huge technical advancements, along with Honda. Honda catching up pretty quickly with 2 more races to go tonight. Welcome. Hopefully everything makes sense. If you have any questions about what's going on the screen, we'd be happy to explain to you. But essentially, it's kind of like Assetto Corsa meets D&D meets Marbles, all together, smashed up in this genius creation made by Josie. If you haven't already followed Josie runs this on his channel as well. I am sure we can get Mr. Nos to give a shout out to Josie's channel if you're willing to do it more than once or wanting to do it more than once and get into another championship. I think, Josie, you're about to start the next one, aren't you? Or just started?
We're about halfway through the other one. So 12, actually, yeah, 12, I think 10 races in season 16. It's
Cool.
It's a little bit surreal to say it out loud. I forget how many seasons we've done over there sometimes.
That's awesome.
But yeah.
Super awesome. Yeah, so essentially what happens is we have AI that are running the races. All of the team managers submit upgrade strategies. We go into we'll go into here where I have all of the upgrades. Every race we roll for the efficacy of their upgrades. If you get a good roll, your upgrade works better. If you get a bad roll, maybe it has a negative effect on your car. People can cheat. People can call out cheaters. Super exciting all around. And I think we're about to get to that exciting point. We're about to roll for upgrades.
Yeah, and we've got 5 teams with money left here this round in round 7. And I think this is going to be the round that makes or breaks McLaren's season. This is their final upgrade here. But we're going to start off with a medium for Williams, Ferrari, and Sauber. So 3 mediums in a row here.
All right, let's go in for a fresh roll. Luckily, it's not the one that's currently showing on screen because that would be extremely poor for everybody. All right, fresh roll going in. Better. Ooh, not so good. So we got a 9 for the first car. a whole
That'll be
14, a super strong roll for the second car, and a 1 for the third car. Did you say Audi for the third car?
It'll be Sauber,
Oh,
actually.
Sauber. Okay.
Yeah, so Audi has spent all their budget already. So it's +2 for Williams, +3 for Ferrari, and +1 for Sauber. Ferrari is going to get a bit of a jump here. That is going to help them a lot for the remainder of the season. Next up, we have a small for Renault.
All right, going for a single roll, and we are going to roll here for Renault. Clicking the button, and we have a 19 for Renault.
Wow.
Huge number. Unfortunately, they chose to do a small, so the impact is going to be, okay. Not the
I mean,
best.
it's not bad. +3 for one budget spent. I think, you have to remember also that when you go small, that opens up budget elsewhere on the upgrade plan. And if you look at Renault's upgrade history here, they have had upgrades every single round from round 1 till now. So while the +3 is not bad, I think that's going to be huge. I think what the strategy for Renault has been is they're running some of these riskier rolls that cost less. And every time they get more than a +1 per budget, you can think of it as they're ahead of the curve of all the other cars' upgrades. Finally, we have a large for McLaren. Let's see where McLaren shapes out. I personally think McLaren's going to be the fastest car for the remainder of the season. We'll see if I'm right or not.
Well, huge time for McLaren. Is this going to be a good roll? Is it going to be a bad roll? Deliberately waiting just to build the tension as people are on the edge of their seats, whether it's literally, metaphorically, and we are going to roll for McLaren. A 15! Another big roll for McLaren, just smashing these rolls.
Massive. That is going to be absolutely massive. That's a +4, taking their +19 up to a +23. I don't know. At this point, you hate to say it, but if they don't win, it's the drivers dropping the ball. They have a massive car. The only other thing that you could point to as a reason for McLaren losing is if another team is cheating on a massive scale, in which case they could get caught if another TP decides to challenge them. So as it stands right now, McLaren fastest car with a +23 on paper total. Renault the second fastest car +18, and Honda third fastest car at +17. Championship at 1 point leaders, Red Bull now still sitting at +12, out of budget, and gonna struggle for the rest of the season, I think, Red Bull. And honestly, that's just unfortunate. I think they rolled a really small budget relative to the other teams. Mercedes as well. I think Mercedes is going to struggle for the rest of the season here. They have +12 as well. So all the +12 teams have gone from being front runners here to midfielders, and now they're back markers. So the +12 teams, Williams, Red Bull, BMW, and Mercedes on the back foot here. Ferrari has pulled themselves ahead with Sauber in the +15. So Sauber and Ferrari in the midfield here. The slowest car on the grid will be the Audi at +11.
If only Ferrari could remember to put their tires on, that would be fantastic.
All right. Give me a moment here to enter in all the upgrades for the teams.
All right, so we are looking at Watkins Glen, which is actually, if we look at the calendar, going to be the next race of our season. So we have the reverse grid. Is that the GT3 or the reverse grid that's coming out? It's actually the GT3 Championship and our Porsche Cup on Sunday. If you're new here and don't know what we do, Synthodrive is a bit of an outlier that we've just started trying to do this season. I'm loving it. I don't know about you guys, but this is super fun. Josie, thank you for bringing Synthodrive to TRACKILICIOUS. This is good. This has been super fun. It is going super well. I think I'm having a great time. But what we normally run are ACC races. We have a bunch of them. SimGrid link in the chat here. We run Mondays, Monday GT4 Rookie Series, Monday GT4 Open Series, and then we run into the reverse grid on Thursdays, which is a GT3 reverse grid this season, and then going into the Sunday series, which is a Porsche Cup series to begin with, a starter series, which feeds into our highlight event, the GT3, both Porsche Cup and GT3 at Watkins Glen. Watkins Glen running the double header format at 30-45 with a pit stop. I think it's going to be super exciting. Watkins, one of the fan favorites, I think, of the new releases. It's such a fun, flowy track. We got some Watkins Glen neighbors. I don't know if they're in chat, but I know that some of our members here are very close to Watkins Glen. Consider Watkins their home track up in upstate New York. J-Man, how do I join races? Oh, well, there are a couple of things. So if you're talking about the Synthodrive series, once the Synthodrive series ends next week, we are planning on running this again. It'll be in the new year. This is going to be super fun to do. You can join our Discord, !Discord and chat, or our discord.gg/TRACKILICIOUS, in which you will find the Synthodrive channel. Within that channel, you can mention that you want to be a team principal or just a driver. A driver is a hands-off role, if you like. You can just accept contracts from team principals or choose to be a team principal instead. Just message Josie in the chat, and he will put you in line to try and get you into the next series. Super exciting. However, if you are talking about our ACC series, then that's just a matter of going on to SimGrid and signing up for any of the championships, depending on what your skill level is and how much time you want to commit. You can sign up for one rookie series or the GT3 series or the open series, or sign up for all of them. Many of our drivers do quite a few series, so you're welcome to attend all, and we'd love to have you. No, unfortunately, J-Man, you cannot join this race. And just to be clear, this is an AI race, so no one's actually racing in this race. It's all AI generated, and what we do is it's more of a strategy-based series that we're doing, in that the team principal decide the upgrades as you've seen. We roll the die to see how well the upgrades work out, and and see how the championship plays out for them. So no one's actually driving in this race. These are all people who've just contributed their names to the championship so that we can have a more realistic feel. And it's basically playing Dungeons and Dragons with the roll of the die and trying to get your avatar or player or whatever you guys call it in D&D. I'll be honest, I've never played D&D before. To your character to the top of the field. Some people doing well, some people starting off super strong, fading out, and others, slow burners but coming through.
Yeah, we will get it qualifying started if you're ready to go.
Yep, absolutely.
Awesome. So Meliori at the top of the timesheets for practice, but obviously neither of the McLaren drivers were able to put in a lap there. So we'll see if Meliori is going to be able to hold on. Meliori has been out very early every single quali session without fail for some, I don't know how, as this is all kind of random, but I guess we could say that her engineers have been sending her out early. She's been out extremely early every single quali session, for better or for worse. I think it has not paid off the last two races, but it certainly paid off in the first 4 races.
Yeah, the Mercedes strategy just not as good as it used to be. But you know what? Still in it. Still in the championship. Still up there.
Oh, they're very much still in contention. And I think if Meliori drives anything like she's been driving for the rest of the season, I think she's going to be looking really strong at the end of the season here. Mike with a really good question. Can Jake Wells score a point? That'll be the question this season. I think Jake Wells will score a point. At least.
We will see. We will see. Jake coming in strong, supporting in chat. Big hopes, big dreams. Just not fulfilled so far.
All right, and we'll ride along Meliori as she starts her hot lap. Will she get blocked by anyone coming out of the pit lane? Nope, she's clear, and it's paid off this time for her. It hasn't paid off for her every single time. She's been blocked sometimes through turn 2 and turn 3, the S's. She goes. It's flat out in a Formula 1 car through those corners. And sometimes we've seen some overtaking in the S's as well. Into the bus stop chicane here, the inner loop. Very, very fast, only 1 or 2 downshifts if you're driving this as you go through turn 5, the outer loop. Gonna look for your braking point around the 100 board mark. Gotta trail carefully here so you don't overshoot. Brake super late into this uphill right-hander, turn 7. And you have to get on the gas really late here. I think it's like that in the GT3 cars as well, if you correct me if I'm wrong. Brake right around the 100 board. The braking power of these cars extremely powerful. Hit that apex, come around on that right-hander into this left-hander. Easy to understeer and or oversteer depending on how you brake and or get on the gas. Flat out on this left-hander, turn 10. Use a little bit of the exit curb here. Downshift once for turn 11. Flat out coming on to the main straight with DRS open. Crosses the line. Meliori only third fastest with a 1:18.6. Almost a whole second behind Chris McNichol, who is provisionally on pole. Steven Tomazic, P4 for BMW provisionally. And we've got Kevin Huffman up in P2. 2/10 off of the pole position.
Huffman still doing really, really well, performing strong. But we got team principal of the BMW team, Steven Tomazic, pointing out that 0. Jake Wells is currently only on a 1-year contract. That is giving me Helmut Marko feels right there.
Yeah, that is diabolical. Oh man, there ain't no way.
Vicious.
Oh, that is vicious.
Vicious.
And I gotta point out, Huffman has been on it. Well, speaking of Jake Wells, P3 in the BMW. Provisionally, of course, but only 3/10 off of pole position. Huffman has been in the top 5 or top 6, I think, in the last 2 races in qualifying in that Sauber. Extremely, extremely good driving from Huffman these last couple races. And we've got Meliori down in P10, Milo in P8. So we're waiting. I'm waiting to see where Nast is, the other McLaren. McLaren have all the chances here to take the WDC lead. They have the WCC lead already, so the Constructors' Championship, they are in the lead right now. If Nas can get himself in the top 5 here, can probably take the Drivers' Championship lead, but he will not. It's P12 for Nas. So Milo P8, P12 for Nas, and I'm curious if he's held up by anyone. Nope, just bad qualifying. Very poor qualifying, and Carlos, the one held up this round by a Renault.
Looks like Jake DeVries up in. Looks like Jake DeVries of BMW up in 3rd place here, really taking that pressure on and putting a fantastic P3 performance so far.
Jake DeVries is crazy. Into the pit he goes. Apparently he thinks that that's it. That is the best lap he's gonna get. So into the pit lane for Jake Wells. Chris McNichol is already in the pit lane. He is chilling 2/10 ahead of Huffman here. I don't think anyone's gonna have the measure of that Red Bull this race. And McLaren, huge shock, P8 and P12. This is a track where the car performance typically has had impact.
I'm sorry, I just saw Jake drive into the pit wall back there.
Yeah, no, actually, all the cars when they go in, AC has a really weird thing for the bots. It looks really wonky. They just turn it into the wall and then it like teleports them to pits. So if you watch put in here, you just.
That's funny.
It's ugly, but you know what can you say? It's a 2014. The game was made in 2014. And you know, I thought Chris McNichol was resting on his laurels, but he was just getting new tires and going back out there. He's actually going to get one more hot lap here. I think he's going to cross the line in time.
Well, that's the kind of mentality that they accept at Red Bull over there.
Yeah, incidentally, also driving Max Verstappen's car, so that I feel like that That's on
Yeah.
brand.
Got the 33.
Yeah, the number 33 and the. Is it, yeah, this is the 2020 spec. So RB16, RB17, RB16,
Interesting.
I would say.
Interesting. Well, yeah.
Yeah, it's the year where they were slower than Racing Point.
Let's not point that out.
I think
Wait,
that was a very difficult year for them.
Huffman coming in strong with a P2. Jake Wells listening about the threats of his 1-year contract. In one hand, Steven Tomazic, team principal of BMW, going, well, he's on a 1-year contract.
Ooh.
On the other hand, giving him props that he's the next prodigy as someone gets blocked in qualifying.
Huge lap from Nas to put himself up from P12 to P5. That'll push Steven Tomazic down a position and put a huge obstacle ahead of him. Steven Tomazic needed to get up into the top 5 this race to try to push ahead in the WDC, to try to get into contention, to be the first world champion in this series, but is going to have to get past the McLaren of Nast now. That's a very difficult car to pass. And we've seen at Prague, even if you pass Nast, he can get by you in 2 more laps if you give him the space. So wherever the McLarens end up, it's been difficult to pass them, and that is really gonna hurt Steven Tomazic's chances of getting into the top 5 here. But not impossible. We've seen, Milo up into P7 too, so huge jump up for McLaren. Not where I think they should be, which is P1 and P2, but doing better than they were earlier.
Maybe their upgrades are race dependent, Josie.
Oof.
Or maybe somebody is cheating.
That's certainly a possibility. Remember, if you would like to challenge another team for cheating, please let us know in the chat. Ideally before the start of the race. Who obstructed Jace? I actually don't know. I saw it. I just didn't look at who it was. But Eric, why don't you walk us through the cars here?
Alrighty, let's do that. Let me switch over to the stream here. As we have in P1, Chris McNichol in the BMW, Kevin Huffman in P2 with an incredible performance in the Sauber, Jake Wells listening to the threats of his contract, coming in P3 in the BMW. Massive performance by Jake Wells there. Going down into our huge and amazing server supporter, the lovely, the amazing, the fantastic Jacob Church. The less performing, but more points on the board than the other Jake. But yeah, in the other Sauber. Next we have Nast, multiple driver and constructor champion Nast in the McLaren, followed by Steven Tomazic in the other BMW. Not as well performing as Jake Wells is trying to get out of his 0-point pull. Coming up after that is Milo in the McLaren, the fantastic fast McLaren. Justin Beachley in 8th position in the Williams. Fantastic performance by that. Gita in 9th position in the Honda, followed by Chronotis in P10 in the Red Bull. Next is John Hawley in the Mercedes, trying to put big push for the both drivers and constructors championship. Armin Ghazarian in the fabbed out Audi. Great looks, not so much in the performance. Meliori in P13, the other Mercedes. Big team performance by these guys, trying to push for the big constructor championship. Pudding in P14 in the Renault, followed by Aaron Miller in the Toyota. P16 is Anthony Bianco with the first Ferrari on the field so far. Hopefully they have all 4 tires on there, followed by Scott Sullivan in the 2nd Renault. Lovely livery there. Then followed by Carlos Guzman in the Honda in P18. Josie in P19 in the 2nd Ferrari. Justin Muffett in P20 in the in the other Toyota. Eric in P21 with the other fabulous Audi. And finally, Joystick Jason Controller King Jace Wright in 22 in the Williams.
And off we go with the formation lap just to get the tower loaded here. We have our Golf safety car. A little bit different from last week's Golf. Last week's was the GTI. This week it is a Golf R. Both the Mark 7.5. And we are good to go. Eric, would you like to do the start of the race here, or would you like me to do it?
I took the last one. You take this one, and I'll do the next one.
Sure, sounds good. Five lights on, six lights on. And it's lights out, and away we go. The Red Bull gets off to a good start, but the Sauber off to a slightly better start. It's going to be a race down into turn one. Sauber should have a better line, a little more runoff, and that'll be Kevin Huffman in the lead of the race. Meanwhile, behind them, there's some sort of drama there. There's a lot of overtaking going on. Nast up into P4 already, has gotten past the Sauber of Jacob Church, but will fall behind with the BMW ahead blocking him. A little bit of smart racing there from Jacob Church, making sure that Nas cannot get through easily. Steven Tomazic stuck behind Nas in P6. Milo still P7. Tsuda has gone up to P8 for Honda. John Hawley up into P9. So Mercedes up into the points here. And Meliori in P12. Jace Wright gets past Carlos Guzman in the Honda, but the Honda will fight back to take P18 and 17. Oh, P17, I'm sorry. Nast has another look at Jacob Church. Into turn 8, has the inside line, but Jacob Church will have the inside line onto the following corner into turn 9. See if Nast can hold on to the outside. We've seen drivers go into the wall. No sooner did I say that than does Steven Tomazic have the inside here for turn 10. Nast is dropping positions. He's going to have the inside this corner. Ooh, he loses the car, and that's going to be massive damage into the side of Nast's car. That is a huge blow to the McLaren team, and I think it's going to be defensive for Nast from here on out. Steven Tomazic 2 tenths behind. Kevin Huffman in the Sauber 4 tenths ahead of Chris McNichol. Chris McNichol could have a look to take the lead here. And Watkins Glen, a fantastic racetrack. Crazy races, side by side, going into the chicane sometimes even. And we might see it here. Armin Gazarian side by side with Putin. Who's going to come out on top? It looks to be the Renault here, but no, they're still side by side. I think Armin's going to have the inside here. Can Armin go through? I think he will, yep. Armin up into P13. Meanwhile, Justin Beachley for Williams started P10, up into P9 now. Has gotten past John Hawley, who got up into P9 early at the start of the race. Has dropped 2 positions, or dropped 1 position here, down to P10. Has Chronotis right behind. No penalty for Chronotis this race. Meliori P12 behind Chronotis. Will not be in the points despite being the WDC leader right now. And she had a massive start to the season for the first 4 races. All 4 races in the top 5. Will be struggling to get back into the top 5 now with the performance of the car. She's got better pace though. 120.4 on that lap. Will be almost a whole second faster than the Red Bull of Chronotis there. So we'll see if she can get by him here. Meanwhile, Aaron Miller in the Toyota gets past his own teammate, Justin Muffet. And Eric Cassian battling it out with Joyce. What happened to Joyce? Dropped down to P21. Anthony Bianco down in P22. Not sure what happened to him. And Justin Beachley has a look at Milo. Milo in the McLaren, fastest car on the grid, down to P9 now. Meanwhile, Nast is still holding on for dear life here. 2 seconds behind Jacob Church. Has damage, and Joyce has spun out on the chicane. I would imagine trying to overtake Eric Ghoukasian there. A little bit of a reckless move from the Ferrari driver. Both Ferraris down and out of the points will be extremely disappointing for the Tifosi everywhere. Meanwhile, we've got Kevin Huffman still in the lead. This will be the first race win for Sauber, but can they hold on? Chris McNichol 2 tenths behind. As they come around for the start of the 4th lap, Huffman seemingly can do no wrong this race. Gets past on the first turn in turn 1 and has held on to the lead since. Chris McNichol for Red Bull has won a race already this season, looking to add to his race wins. Does not have a stronger car, though. The Sauber is faster. Ooh, goes a little bit wide there. Late apex for both cars here. And Milo gets past Beachley again as they come down turn 6. Has Chronotis right behind them, but here comes Beachley again. Man, Justin Beachley is so tenacious. I just love to watch it.
Yeah, we call him Tenacious B around these parts.
Tenacious B is crazy. No, I love it. I love it. Fantastic driving. Bit of a heartbreaker for the Mercedes drivers, though, as John Hawley was in the points, had gotten himself up to P9 at one point, down in P11 now, just outside of the points. Kevin Huffman starts the final lap, 117.9, followed by Chris McNichol, also 117.9. They are matching each other lap for lap in terms of race pace. So Chris McNichol driving out of his mind, given the fact that the Red Bull significantly slower than the Sauber in terms of upgrades here.
Oh, we have another issue for Josie. She's all the way in the back again.
Yeah, huge crash out trying to race with Eric Ghoukasian into the chicane there. Ooh! And who was that just got sent off trying to lap? Oh, and it's Steven Tomazic. Steven Tomazic will drop out of the top 10. Tries to lap Joyce. Very, very, very risky place to lap a car. And no one to really blame but himself for that one.
RTG for Tomazic there. Oh my goodness.
And here we go. Kevin Huffman on the final lap, on the last two corners. Around turn 10 and 11, he'll go. He's going to take his first win in this series. The first win. Ooh, almost lost it there. First win for Sauber as well. As he crosses the line, it's Kevin Huffman, your race winner at Watkins Glen. What a race from him. Overtake in the first corner of the first lap. Holds on to the lead the entire race and pulls away with a race victory. Jake Wells, not only with points, on the podium. And had to shut up the naysayers.
Literally from 0 to hero.
Yeah, 15 points on the board for BMW. Will be pretty sad, Steven Tomazic, as both BMWs were in the points there. And Steven drops out of the points on the final lap.
Oh, no. I don't think Jake's in chat. Someone DM him. Tell him to come back. He's missing out.
We've had drivers win a drivers championship and miss the final race.
Goodness.
They'll pull up the VOD and celebrate privately later. But Kevin Huffman, what a drive from him.
That sounds really wrong.
Oh, well, you know, I didn't mean it like that, but yeah. No, I love you. Love to. You love to see it.
How about that podium?
Yeah. You know what I think is huge? I think it's Red Bull, Chris McNichol on the podium here because, you know, Red Bull, we had talked about how they don't have the car to compete, but they're still putting the car in the top 3. Chronotis in the top 10, actually. John Hawley gets promoted up to P10 due to Steven Tomazic's crash. And Milo up to P6, was down in P9, up 3 positions after losing a lot of positions. And Jira for Honda and in P7. So Honda a bit of a jump here. So let's go back to the booth and we'll get these scores in.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, another fantastic race here at TRACKILICIOUS Synthodrive, hosted by Haisojoko, yours truly, Josie Koo, the mastermind behind this idea, behind this fantastic season that we're having. Yeah, Tomazic, big crash, hurting wrists. It's going to be for him to watch the VOD and celebrate later. But yeah, Uh, hey, Tomaz, you can't win them all, right? When you win some, you lose some. Unfortunately, you won some and you lost some today. But you still have another race to come. So huge opportunity for performance moving forward. Yeah, I'm curious to see. I'm curious to see how this next one shapes up. We have quite a few changes in position that I think are going to be coming up. I'm excited to see how the standings shape up. With all the points going in. Josie, let us know when we're ready to review the points. In the meantime,
ready to review the points when you are.
Alrighty, let's go.
We'll go through them quickly here.
Sheets here.
I'll put them in quickly. It's 25 points for Kevin Huffman. Huge race for Kevin Huffman here. Held back the Red Bull of Chris McNichol, who had the fastest lap, better pace overall this race, I think. And Kevin did really well to hold on to that P1 after taking the lead in turn 1. Gets a great start, gets past Chris McNichol into turn 1 and holds on to the lead. Chris will get 22 points for being on pole position as well as fastest lap. So Red Bull with a huge jump here. I think this might actually propel them into the lead of the constructors title as they have both cars in the top 10. Jake Wells goes from 0 to hero, 15 points for him, and the only point scorer for BMW this race. Jacob Church, 12 points. So Sauber scores 37 points this race.
Massive leap for Sauber out of the bottom of the pack.
Yeah, and that's only 10 points less than maximum points scorable. So maximum points scorable for a team on a weekend is 47 points. 37 is a massive jump ahead. In P5 and P6, we've got the McLarens here. 10 points for Nast, 8 points for Milo. So 18 points for McLaren. I think they actually might be able to hold on to the lead here. It will be 6 points for Jira, 4 points for Justin Beachley, who gets that Williams up into the top 10. Chase Wright has gotten the Williams into the top 10 the last 3 races, and this race, Justin Beachley is the one to get the Williams into the top 10. So Williams has had a decent performance this season. 2 points for Chronotis. So it's a 24-point round for Red Bull, and the final point goes to John Hawley. I think Mercedes is the team that's looking like they might fall off here at this point in the season.
The competition between the McLaren and Red Bull is unbelievable. 126 points for McLaren, 124 for Red Bull. This championship is still wide open. Unbelievable.
And we have a challenge. Officially now, Williams is challenging Sauber. So that'll nullify their points if they are indeed caught cheating. So I won't tell you what the thresholds are, but if you could roll a d20 for me, Eric.
Alrighty. Okay, so again, let's explain what's going on here, because this is the first time this is happening this season. I'm super excited. All right, so what can happen in this championship is people can cheat. People can cheat to get some, let's say, hidden bonus advantage points. They can be small bonus points, they could be big bonus points in terms of performance on their car. However, while it remains a secret, anybody on the field can challenge that hidden performance, that cheat. And what we have here is Williams coming in, okay, with a big challenge on the Sauber, big performance on the Sauber. Let's see if team principal Kevin Huffman gets caught in a cheat, or is he going to be able to get away with it? The roll is what will decide. We don't know what the thresholds of the roll are. He might get caught, he might not. We're about to roll for the first challenge of the season. Are we going to get it, or are we not? What's going to happen? We're going to roll now for the first challenge of the season for a cheat. What is going to happen? And we have a roll of 15. It's a huge roll. Is that in favor or not in favor of Kevin Huffman? Did he cheat? Did he not cheat? Is Sauber going to get caught?
And Kevin Huffman is not found cheating this round. Sauber not found cheating.
My goodness. Oh my goodness.
So yeah, that is the one challenge for Williams, and Sauber is not found to be cheating.
So just to be clear, Josie, a high number means that they're less likely to find out to be cheated, or more likely to find out to be cheated?
Or
do we know that?
So I can tell you whether a high number or a low number will catch them, but I can't tell you what the thresholds are. So
That's totally fine.
yeah, so the higher the number, the more likely a team is to get away with cheating.
Ooh. So what we're saying is Beachley took a chance, okay, coming in with a challenge from Williams. He has lost his one challenge, but he's opened up the door for a potential for another team to come in with a second challenge, because that high number could potentially mean that, hey, maybe Kevin Huffman cheated. Maybe Sauber is cheating, but that high roll masked it a little bit. Was it just too good a roll? Is anybody else gonna come challenge it? Is anybody else gonna come say, hey, no, I actually believe that Williams is right. Maybe we're gonna challenge it as well. We don't know. Maybe it'll happen. I don't know. Maybe I'm putting some ideas into people's heads. I don't know. Maybe.
And yeah,
All right.
as a huge thing also is I will not say throughout the season whether a team has cheated or not unless they get caught. So kind of like poker, unless a team principal decides to show his or her hand, I'm not going to say whether they cheated or not at the end of the season. It's up to the team principal if they want to reveal that. And that's part of the bluffing game. I won't reveal that piece unless, of course, they're caught cheating, in which case everybody will know that you're cheating.
Whoa, Josie, we're coming in with another challenge, but on another car.
Challenge Honda for race 6. So you can only challenge the most recent race that has been won, because I can't retroactively go back in time and take the parts off the car if they were cheating. But let's get a roll for Honda.
So hang on. With this information, Steven Tomasic, do you choose to continue with your challenge? I guess some information for me, Josie, maybe for everybody else.
Yes.
If the parts are on the car and they're still found to be, I mean, that's still cheating, right? Can someone still challenge for a cheated race? And like if they challenge in the 6th race and they're still having the parts on the 7th race, if you challenge that, does that still mean that they're still cheating?
So if they started cheating earlier in the season, right? Like let's say they cheated in round 2 and they went for something real bold, real brave, like a +4. They get caught in, say, this round, round 7. They will lose the upgrades given by the cheat starting in round 8. So
okay,
I can't.
You could still catch the cheat.
Yes, you can still catch the cheat and they lose that persistent upgrade. However, the disqualification portion of the cheating will only happen for round 7. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Their results for round 7 will be the only things that are disqualified.
So just to confirm and be sure, Mr. Tomasic, are you still wanting to challenge Honda? Yes or no? Oh, he withdraws the challenge. He withdraws
so challenge withdrawn.
Goodness, what a turn of
spicy.
events.
Very, very, very spicy. And it will be one upgrade this round for Toyota. It will be a medium.
All right, so let's go into our die roll. We have one on the board. Spicy drama, a medium roll for Toyota.
Yep.
All right, going in. 16, massive roll for Toyota. Massive
that's
roll
huge.
for
That's
Toyota.
gonna just 1 point off of a +4, but will still net a +3 for 2 budget spent. That is going to be really nice for Toyota. And let's first take a look at the standings here really quick. It's McLaren still in the lead by 2 points of the Constructors' Championship. And I believe no, it's Red Bull. Chris McNichol is in the lead of the WDC now.
Yeah, but not by much.
Not by much at all.
Not by much.
77 points. Yeah, one race win will put someone else in the lead as long as Chris doesn't score any points here. It will be a +3 for Toyota this round. And that'll put Toyota up into the 3rd fastest car slot, or 4th fastest car slot, right behind Honda and Renault. Renault, the 2nd fastest car, but hasn't really shown it. We haven't really seen it. McLaren's still the fastest car, and I'm going to guess that they're going to be the fastest car until the end of the season. The only team that might have a jump at McLaren here is going to be Honda, maybe Ferrari. And we still got Williams with one more upgrade. So after next round 9, which is the first race of next week, all the teams will be out of budget. So after Road America, Silverstone, Paris, and Suzuka, the cars will be static in terms of performance, unless teams are cheating, if they haven't already cheated, or if they get challenged and they go backwards in performance.
We're being almost asked for a Will Buxton quote, so I will say, in order for teams to win, they're gonna have to score more points than the other teams. And there you have it, folks.
Fantastic quote. I love it. It's Banokbre next, our second street circuit of this leg of the calendar. It is honestly one of my favorite races of the season. I think it is an extremely, extremely crazy race. I think there's a lot of crashes possible. So I hope you enjoy this race as much as I do. It is also a very fun track to drive. If you do have a Assetto Corsa, it is under the Reboot team. So do get this track if you are an Assetto Corsa enjoyer. I think it's one of my favorite tracks. It's from Project Cars, I think. So if anyone played Project Cars, this is the game that it's from.
In order for you to perform better than the other teams, you're going to have to perform better than the other teams.
And we're starting the practice session now. We can jump into quali as soon as you'd like.
All right, let's hop into quali.
All right. This is a kind of reminder of the stakes. Honda really could have a run at the Constructors title. Remember, the Constructors title is the one that really matters in this league, because that's the one that'll give you extra budget in the season. And it's race winner Kevin Huffman out on the track first. Let's ride along with him. Flat out through the first corner. It's almost like cops here. 2 downshifts into the right-hander there. Very, very much reminiscent of Wall of the Champions in Montreal. A little bit of a lift on that right-hander. Left-hander has a bit of a bump, easy to lose the rear. Braking on this bridge section is tricky as it goes downhill here. There's 2 lines to take. You can go low and then high here, or you can stay high all the way through. The tricky one is when you go low and then low, there's a bump on the road there where you could lose the car, and we've seen the AI try to overtake there and crash. Lift here, downshift once maybe to get back on the gas through there. Not much of a braking zone there, but still we've seen overtakes there. Flat out through this section. Up until the next braking point, this is flat. Braking point right here. And there's a dip in the road that it's really easy to lose the car into the wall on the right there, into the town square section. Pavement is a bit uneven there due to a curb. Really easy to lose the car there. Dip in the road here where you can lose the car. We've seen the AI lose the car there, depending on the setup that they run for the rear wing. On this downhill left-hand braking zone, also we've seen the AIs crash there. Over the bridge, over a bump, and I want to show the third person view here because there was a jump that we missed. But the cars do get a little bit of lift off there if they're not careful. Round the final bend for Kevin Huffman. Down the main straight. DRS is available anywhere on the track that the drivers would like. That causes a lot of risk for crashing. And let's see if I can catch a driver go over that bump here. So right here, we'll see Milo go over the bump. Oh, no, sorry. Here we go. So Scott Sullivan right here. There's a weird little bump there. I don't know if you saw the rear of the car slide out there. Super easy to lose the rear of the car. As the cars come around, Nast and Milo both in contention for the championship lead here. Right now, Chris McNichol in the lead of the championship. And Red Bull could take the lead of the Constructors' Championship as well here. And that'll be huge if they can get the WCC and the WDC in their first season. First season is always interesting. First season that I ever ran of AI racing, back then it was a lot less sophisticated. The first season, the first driver to ever win a driver's title won the championship title without winning a single race.
So it sounds like he Alan postulated more of a calculated method of trying to win the championship as opposed to just trying to win every single race and risking it all.
Yeah, he won the championship with no wins. He won for Red Bull, but they lost the constructors title to Lotus. And then he moved to McLaren the next season. He's been at McLaren since, and that car has been dog ever since. It's been pretty bad. I think they've had 1 or 2 competitive seasons since out of 16.
Well, not over here looking like McLaren doing quite well.
Oh yeah, McLaren's car is slapping here. It's Kevin Hoffman, provisional pole, won the last race, provisional pole this race, but only lasted for a bit as teammate Jacob Church takes provisional pole away from him. Nast in P3. Sauber 1 and 2. And no sooner did I say that than does the Renault of Scott Sullivan, 142.8, 29 milliseconds faster than Jacob Church, takes provisional pole. Jira in the Honda P3.
Oh, Josie, what fantastic improvements of performance we're seeing in some of these cars. Wouldn't you say? Just for the record, I have no clue who's cheating. I'm just like you guys. I'm just enjoying the improvements and development. I would never ruin the legitimacy of this championship. I just like you all in chat. I am a fan. I'm a fan. I'm a viewer.
You're the Christian Horner.
Just happen to be able to talk. Yeah.
You're just stirring the pot, if you will. 15-month sub from Jose. Thank you so much for the gift or for the subscription, tier 1 subscription. 15 months, 3 months, over a year. Thank you so much.
That's amazing. Jose here supporting his brother Carlos, who's been doing quite well in the last couple of races. I believe in the Honda they have. Right? I think Carlos is in the Honda in the Formula 1.
Yeah, Carlos is in the Honda.
Yeah.
Down in P14. Milo P13 for McLaren.
Goodness.
And Milo is so peaky. Wins 2 races, the most of anyone in the series so far, but has not scored any points outside of his race wins, I think. Maybe. Oh, no. Maybe 1 race he scored points outside of race win. But all the other races, he's been not even in the top 10. And Nast in P8 also a little bit underperforming, I would say.
I have a little poem for you, Josie, if I may.
Yes, please.
Roses are red. Scotland is far. If you're not performing, change your car.
No, that's good. I like that.
Gotta live
Scott
up to
Sullivan puts in an even faster lap. Was only 26 milliseconds. Now a 10th up on Jacob Church. And Justin Moffat, P3 for Toyota, put in P2 for Renault. So Renault 1 and 4 right now.
I'm coming up with another poem for you, Josie. Laughing at
Let's hear it
while I'm doing it. Roses are red. Scotland is neat. If you're not winning, you better freaking cheat.
You're definitely not trying hard enough if you're not cheating. A huge mix up here, and Kevin Hoffman was on provisional pole. Sauber had a provisional 1 and 4, down in P6 now, has dropped 6 positions after taking that pole position. And let's see his sector 1 time here. should be out of battery, honestly. So down only 2/10. So if he could keep this pace, he could jump up to P3 for this qualifying session. Let's ride along with him. And he's completely dry on the battery. So I think the longer this goes, the more time Huffman's going to lose here. But we'll see. I think I saw earlier someone mentioned that the town square chicane is great. I love that town square chicane because you can't go too wide into it. You can only go one wide, one car at a time. If you go too wide, you really, really risk crashing. And we've seen some really crazy car set on fire crashes there.
You spend any channel points, and I already got another poem lined up for you. Our technical team coming in with doesn't need to be roses or red. Nay, I say we have developed a format. All right, before we get started, I got one for these boys. Okay, roses are red. Scotland is free. Ferrari strategy: 4 tires or 3.
Yeah, but quite sad for Ferrari outside of the top 10 again. Eric, you want to run us through the starting grid order?
Yes, I would, as we have Scott Sullivan in P1 in the Renault. Fantastic performance by Scott Sullivan. Jacob Church coming in P2 in the Sauber, followed by Justin Muffet in P3 in the Toyota. That's a fantastic performance by Muff over there. Putin coming in P4 with the Renault. Renault really jumping up in performance over there. Really great to see. Gita in P5 in the Honda, followed by Kevin Huffman. Another great performance by the Sauber over there, looking really strong. Chris McNichol in the Red Bull, still keeping it strong for the Red Bull team, one of them at least, followed by Nast in the, did I miss it? No, Nast in the McLaren in P8. Next in line is Meliori, bringing it back up into 9th position in the Mercedes, followed by Aaron Miller in P10 in the other Toyota machine. Steven Tomazic, not a bad performance for him there in P11 in the BMW. Then comes Josie in the Ferrari, the first of the Ferraris in P12. We got Milo in P13 in the McLaren, and then Carlos Guzman in P14 in the other Honda, followed by Anthony Bianco and B on stream here in Twitch in the next Ferrari. Imagine that, an Italian managing an Italian car with an Italian driver. Who would have thought? Justin Beachley following up in the Williams in P16, Jake Wells in P17 for the other BMW car, finally having scored points in the last race, going back to his non-point scoring positions. Hopefully he'll make his way back up, but not as bad as Eric Ghoukasian in P18. So while I throw shade, there's more shade to be thrown my way in the Audi. Then the joystick king, the controller king, joystick Jace Wright, and the AI Williams here in P19. Then we have John Hawley in P20 in the Mercedes. Not as good as his teammate. A lot of work to do to move back up. Then second to last, we have Armin Ghazarian in P21 in the other fantastic bling bling Audi. And the back of the field, Professor Kernotis, one of our strongest contender in the first week, but dropping down to P22 to close off this grid in the Red Bull in Scotland. All right, we have another redeem.
Rolling for a formation lap here.
All right, you do that. I'm gonna have to come up with another little poem for Mr. Beachley here as he's redeemed too. We gotta make these a little bit more expensive, so I don't have to think about them so quickly. All right. It is just a hydrate. I don't know if he meant that as a poem, but I'm gonna cheat a little bit here and take a hydrate on that one, Mr. Beachley.
All righty. Let me know when you are good to start the race.
All righty. We have hydrated. We have poemed. We have spat some lyrics. Now going in for the last race of the night, week 2 at Synthodrive, second out of 3 weeks, 8th race of the season, 2/3 of the way through. What is going to happen with Scott Sullivan in P1? Is he going to be able to maintain the position as we roll onto the grid? 1 light, 2 lights, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we are go, go, go. It is a great start for Scott Sullivan. Looks like pretty solid. Staying up ahead. Is he going to be able to maintain the position? He is, as whoever is in the Sauber really trying to challenge in the turn 1. I don't know what the turn names are, if they even have turn names, but into the right-hander now. Sullivan having the inside. Oh, a little bit of contact. A little bit of contact for Church on the outside. Is that going to affect his race? Going to carry a little bit of damage through the race here in P1 or P2 still, but still way ahead of the competition. As we have looking back into whoever McNichol in the Red Bull falling down the field a little bit. Something must have happened. Nas taking that position in the super strong McLaren, as they have had some magical upgrades in this week's performance upgrades. McNichol still looking strong. Bianco in the back being challenged by Milo. Looks like Milo going ahead. No, that is Justin Beachley, but Justin Beachley going ahead in the Williams. The Ferrari still on the wrong tires. What are these guys doing? Come on, man. Come on, let's get it done. Let's get some good tires on here so they don't have to suffer for the rest of the season. Josie still looking strong. I think still maintaining pretty decent position. I don't know if there were any advancements or not, but Milo and the super strong McLaren is going to be a super difficult one to overtake in P12 with Tomazic just ahead of that. We have some tight competition in 6th, 7th. Nas challenging Kevin Huffman, who's challenging Gira up in 5th position. These guys all in a train now. Still lined up, still looking pretty good, but Sullivan making a huge gap of 2 seconds without even a first lap completed. Great performance by Scott Sullivan. Fantastic to see his improvement through the season. Nas now pretty tight on Kevin Huffman right behind the McLaren, challenging the Sauber over there with a bit of a train forming behind Church over there. Church carrying some damage, so it is to be expected, but it's really giving Scott Sullivan a huge gap, now 3 seconds ahead as we round off the first lap. Going into the second one, second out of 5 laps, as these quick races formed by AI and the genius of Josie. Nas still trying to just kind of set himself up for a great overtake, as Huffman going just ahead of Giro. Really sneaky move on the outside there. Great move by Kevin Huffman. Church Nas right behind, hoping these two are going to continue fighting each other for a quick drive through. Huffman with a little bit of a lockup into the braking zone as they go into the right-hander here. Up through the hill in the Scottish mountains, the Scottish Highlands, as they say. Beautiful scenery of this location. With a tower we're seeing behind under the tunnel as this figure 8 track, as we only have one in ACC, and that's Suzuka. But this lovely figure 8 track as we're going through. Meliori, following Meliori here, looking to challenge McNichol and co ahead. McNichol and Nas side by side, going through the corners. Are they going to have a contact? Doesn't look like it. Nas almost through, possibly through, fully through, just ahead of, oh no, sorry, that's McNichol ahead of Nas. Again, interesting to see that the car with the better upgrades, which is Nas' car and the McLaren, not being able to perform just as well as McNichol. You're taking that Red Bull and wringing every bit of performance out of it, doing a fantastic job getting ahead into P7 while Nas is in P8. Now being challenged by Maliori just behind in that Mercedes, putting up there now, really holding things up, but putting through Jacob Church. Jacob Church again carrying some of the damage that we saw in P1. Church now in P3, holding up the rest of the field, putting through in the Toyota.
Putin is in the Renault. It's crazy, actually. Scott Sullivan is 2 seconds a lap faster than the rest of the field. Look at the mini map. The highlighted blue number 1 is where Scott Sullivan is on the track. He can't even see the other cars in his mirror. Put in the other Renault up into P2 now. It's going to be a 1-2 finish for Renault, but behind them, they're still battling it out. Why don't you take it away for us, Eric, as we watch McNichol chase Moffitt?
McNichol, a Twitch wrench in chat. I don't even know what a Twitch wrench is, but that's just by ignorance. I'm sorry. But John Hawley, a little bit of in a magnifying glass for Sullivan's performance. That is fantastic. Oh, okay. I'm being informed. Welcome, Kane. good to see you over here. And yeah, go McNichol now in 7th position, gaining that position from Nast as we saw before. But Nast must have been challenging. They keep switching back and forth. So good to see that. The performance is fantastic. Again, saw Sullivan way ahead with 6 seconds now. But Gita trying to catch up to put in over there. Put in the Renault. Gita trying to close up that gap. Jacob Church still falling behind. Again, carrying lots of damage, but pretty decent performance of that car, if you ask me. Oh, no!
Huge snap.
Oh, no! That was...
And that's the bump that I was talking about earlier. It's easier for the cars to lose the traction there. And you can see the rear downforce of Jacob Church's car absolutely destroyed as Justin Moffat will go through. Chris McNichol right behind as well now. They're going to go side by side. We've got a couple rows of side by side into turn 1 here. Chris McNichol might be able to get past Jacob Church, or rather, Jacob Church gets past Justin Moffat again. And Nast right behind this huge group of cars side by side.
This is
Meliori
awesome.
Well.
This is fantastic to watch. Again, just, oh, look at that. Just an entire gaggle of cars going through the bridge section over there. Awesome. Absolutely fantastic. Meliori's trying to gain more points. Meliori doing really well in the championship. Now side by side with Nast, getting ahead of Nast, despite the performance that we've known that McLaren is supposed to have, but just cannot keep it up in this track. Meliori going through, now trying to chase down McNichol.
And Steven challenges Renault for cheating. We will have to sort that out at the end of the race here. But if I were him, I definitely understand this challenge. 7.2 seconds in the lead here. Absolutely fiery pace.
Yeah, Renault with the 1 and 2. Oh, what a huge advancement in performance.
Damage on that for sure. Yeah, absolutely. I think Jacob Church's car is quite hurt. It doesn't hurt that it's Kevin Huffman behind him. So teammate. Oh, yeah. That's even more damage. That's a snap into the. I'm surprised the car's still running. We've definitely seen the cars retire off of lesser impacts. And it's the final lap for Scott Sullivan, who is already in turn 2 of the track. Absolute insane pace. Church needs to pit. Yeah, Church. Oh, huge crash up ahead. Oh, and that's going to be a massive crash that holds up the field by quite a bit. Oh my goodness. The cars are getting wedged up into the air. I've not seen that in a long time. And let's take a look. Who was that? Was that Beachley?
Trying to mimic the Porsche on Porsche mounting that we've seen in real life racing. That is unbelievable.
Yeah, that's going to be damage for NASCAR as well.
Yeah, Kane, that is
trying to see
Halo coming through strong. The best performance we've seen from the Halo since Hamilton Verstappen at Monza. Fantastic. Guess who's still running? Jacob Church still out there carrying tons of damage.
And it's actually going to be Jace Wright's car that was getting lapped, I think.
Goodness. Back markers doing back markery things.
It would be the Williams as well. So you can see McNichol and Church go through, or Church doesn't go through. And Justin.
Oh, no.
Justin Moffat tries to go. And that's, ladies and gentlemen, that's why you hold the brakes when you get into impact there. And that is going to destroy the races of Jacob Church and Nast. And Jake Wells, for that matter. Steven Tomazic goes through. That's going to be... I don't even know who the penalty goes to here. I think it's going to be...
That's probably on Muff. Yeah, Muff.
Yeah.
Justin Moffat coming in with a big penalty.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Crazy.
Full course yellow.
Yeah, that's a yellow flag. Not any kind of yellow. That's the biggest kind of yellow.
My goodness, look at the distance between Scott Sullivan and the other Renault. That is, and Puddin, I mean, he must have come through what a gaggle of cars for sure to get that P2 position. What a
2 cars
huge
for sure. Yeah, he
improvement.
started P4 and has gotten past at least 2 cars here. Was able to lap the Williams of Chase right cleanly as well there, I think.
I'm
And a
looking for
huge like swap up in the grid order. Meliori up into P7.
that is going to be huge for Mercedes. What a fantastic gain for the Mercedes. Who's the other Mercedes driver? Who was it? Who was it? Who was it?
I believe it is John Hawley.
Holly. Ooh.
Down in P21. Got the
Yeah.
short end of the stick off of that pile up there.
As we're on the final lap, are we? Jacob Church finally decided
Scott
to
Sullivan's done already. Yeah, Jacob Church has crashed. Not much you can do about that. Scott Sullivan with the most dominant performance we've seen at any race this season. It's been close at some races. It has not been close this race.
Hello, Mick Sharpenberry. It is kind of an AC league, and as we finish this race, I'll go into describing what we are actually doing here. I think it's a super fun idea. We've been having a great time. Give us a 1 minute, and then we'll go into the explanation. Let's run through the grid here. What do we have as the finishing positions for these guys?
Scott Sullivan P1 with the fastest lap of a 141.9. Almost 2 whole seconds faster than P2 with a 143.6. For sure, 2 seconds faster than Jitta, who came in P3. Almost 3 seconds faster than some of the midfield drivers here. Scott Sullivan putting on an absolute masterclass of a race. Fastest lap and pole position, fastest lap, and a race win. That's 29 points for Renault and 18 points for Puddin. That is a 47-point round for Renault. But give us a roll because Renault's been challenged for cheating. And if we could get if we can move the screen back to the booth. Yeah,
let's go to the booth. And before we roll and keep the suspense up, well, as much as we can, let's do another quick explanation of what we're doing here. So, Mick Sharpenberry, welcome. Kane, welcome. All right, so this is Synthodrive at TRACKILICIOUS by Haisojoko, aka Josie. So what this is a combination of AC racing with the fantastic 2010 Formula One cars.
2020.
2020. With the crossed with marbles, the randomness of marbles, crossed with a little bit of D&D. So this is what the portion we're going to get into. So all of the drivers on the field are AI drivers. The team principals, they are represented by real people within the Tracklicious community who voted to or selected themselves to be drivers and have their names represented in the championship and be contracted to drive for their team principals, of which we have 11. And these team principals get to make decisions as to how they perform upgrades within an assigned budget. D&D because of D20s? No, it's D&D because you get to roll to make decisions on how things work out, and the D20s. And so they get assigned a budget, and then within that budget, they get to select upgrades that they get to do through our 12 race championship. 12 races, 4 races a night, 3 weeks. Every Wednesday, we've gone through one. This is the second week, and we're about to close off the stream with the last race of tonight being here at Scotland, and another 4 races next week to close off the first Synthodrive championship that we have here at TRACKILICIOUS. And what happens is through these modifications, every time someone gets a modification, right, we roll to decide the efficacy of their modification. So it could be a 20, giving them a full force of that upgrade that they can get, which is a small upgrade, a medium upgrade, a large upgrade, an extra large upgrade. And all of the upgrades have a little bit of a wait period as well. So if you choose an extra large, you can't immediately do another extra large in the next race. And then through the season, we get to learn what the talents are of the drivers. So you'll have to pay attention to which drivers are doing well. Maybe you want to sign them up for a contract in the next season, steal them from another team. but also get to see the performances of the championship teams. You get upgrades through the season, and the winning team gets a bigger budget in the next season. So we're going to see this play through multiple seasons. We've already committed to a second season of Synthodrive. Josie willing to run it. We're willing to run it. Hopefully Mike Noss is also willing to run it. I'm going to hear him in my ears. Maybe a yes, maybe a no. A big yes from Mike Noss in my ears as he's supporting us in the background here. Mike Noss a little bit under the weather. Wish him the best. Hope he's going to feel better soon. But yeah, really exciting, really fun format. Very new for us, something different in racing, but that's what we love about it, is it's a little bit different. And I think I've stalled enough. So what's happening now is that one of the things that team principals get to do is they get to cheat. They get to cheat. They have a limited budget. And if that budget isn't enough to quite get the performance that they were looking for, they can secretly message Josie, who is the Synthodrive, the SIA, as we call him, not the FIA, the SIA, who has all the secrets in the background. Then someone goes, "Hey, Josie, I would like to secretly cheat in this race and improve the performance of my car. However, every team gets one cheat a season. They can do it at any point in time. But the other team principals can challenge that car and say, hey, I think that so-and-so is cheating." Just as we've had John Hawley of Mercedes come out and say, I would like to challenge Renault. Renault seems like they're doing too well for this race. I think there's something fishy going on. So we're going to go into it and roll. Now, when you cheat, there's going to be a dice that's rolled. The higher the roll on the dice, the less the likelihood that the cheating car is going to get caught. So this, Mr. Kronotis, as you asked before, is where the D&D aspect of it comes through, is that everything is decided by the roll of the dice. Sometimes it's roll of the dice. Sometimes in real life, you get caught. Sometimes you don't. And this is the genius that Josie has come up with to represent the realism of what happens in Formula One. As we switch pages, go into the roll of the dice, a D20 provided by Google, not an official sponsor. The fairest way to assess whether we're gonna make it here. So the number on the board isn't currently what's happening. It's the one that we're gonna click and find out. Hold your breath. AV6.
And it's gonna be a huge L for Renault if they get caught cheating.
Huge L. Huge L. The 1 and 2 that they currently have.
Yeah.
1 and 2 that they have. The maximum possible points you can get. Isn't that right, Josie? Is that the maximum points
maximum amount of points you could possibly get in a weekend?
Oh my goodness. That is going to be a huge loss. Are they going to get caught? So what Scott Sullivan and co. Who else is on that team? Who's the team principal?
It's Tom Puddin, Scantron, and Jose Guzman is the team principal.
Okay, yeah. Jose Guzman, team principal, is trying to make sure that he gets as high a roll as possible and not get caught, if in fact he is cheating at all.
Low numbers to get caught. Yep.
We don't know. Okay. We're about to roll. Everybody pay off the director. No, McSharp, you cannot pay off the director. No, the SIA is impenetrable. Impenetrable. We're gonna roll. Oh, we're right in the middle. Oh,
what's the number? Let's see it.
It's an 8.
It's an 8, and Renault has not found to be cheating.
Oh my goodness. Renault not found to be cheating. Quick response from the SIA. This is huge. Billions and billions have been spent. No cheating has been caught. This is huge.
47 points were on the line, and they have not been found cheating. And that actually puts Renault in shooting distance of the championship title, I think. Only 40 points off of the lead, 50 points off the lead. That is 2 race wins away. Granted, 4 races left, 2 race wins might be difficult, but
I'm gonna
could be 2 podiums.
John Hawley coming in with Beach GT with a big no, Michael, no. Wow. So have you already plugged in the results, Josie, of the
I have plugged in the results, and It's Red Bull in the lead of the Constructors title. Chris McNichol still in the lead of the Drivers' Championship.
That is crazy. While Chrono has dropped off in performance a little bit, Chris McNichol, huge, carrying the team on his back. 134 for Red Bull, leading the championship. McLaren with the highest upgrades, just behind, just not able to put that performance in there. I don't think they got any points this race, did they?
They got 2, but it wasn't. It was not good enough to hold anything.
Yeah,
it just helped Milo tie Nast up, really.
Wow.
Meliori in the championship running contention as well now. Jira has jumped up to 63 points, putting herself in the championship contention here. Yeah, Chris can't get comfortable. He's within 1 race win shooting distance of, let's see, I want to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 drivers.
Yeah,
So-
no resting on your laurels here for sure. Multiple people going for that Drivers' Championship, and not just a Drivers' Championship, but the Constructors' Championship still open as well. Josie, we got Red Bull with 134, McLaren with 128, and Honda with 112. And we've known that the performance upgrades on the Honda and the McLaren are better, have been better recently than the Red Bull. So quite on the tail of these drivers. But McNichol must have some stacked stats, being able to pull that Red Bull with so many points in this race.
Yeah, and McNichol's going to have to hold on here because Honda's still got 1 upgrade left to go. So if Honda gets a really good upgrade and Jira puts in some crazy races, she can take the WDC away from them.
So, Carlos Guzman in here asking how Honda's doing. Honda's doing fantastically well right now. They've come basically from a mid-pack team and have been catching up strong. Probably one of the best performing cars so far this season in terms of upgrades. Probably maybe first or second. Josie?
Yep, second best car. For
Second
most of
best
the
car on the
season,
grid.
actually, yeah.
Wow. So, Carlos, you have 4 races to put that performance to good use. We see both you and Jira coming up pretty strong. Jira on a 2-year contract, locking in that performing driver in for another year, looking pretty strong. So, yeah, looking fantastic for you, Carlos. The outlook is great. You have a couple of races ahead. Hopefully, you can keep performing well. I think your performance has been pretty good so far. And McLaren and Red Bull are going to be shivering in their boots to try and keep you behind.
Yeah, interesting to note, actually, that Honda has the most podiums of any team, but no race wins. So I think that's contributed to why they're not in the lead of the Constructors title right now.
Let's do a quick little doohickey here and see how things are going. So we want the min value to be reddish and the max value to be greenish and the mid value to be yellow. All right, what do we got going on here? Yeah, there you go. Strong podium performance by Honda, but just not converting it into any wins. The next is Red Bull, as we know, in the McLaren. These guys doing better conversion of their races. Here's an interesting one. Milo, 2 for 2 podium to win ratio. That performance. Yeah.
Interestingly enough, Milo has 2 poles, 2 wins, no fastest laps.
Whoa, just the consistency. Just that pole position sufficient to maintain the winning position.
A fantastic drive from him.
Josie, what else do we have before we end the stream here?
Now that is it for me. Only 3 teams with upgrades left for next round. So next week we've got 3 upgrades, and that'll be it for the rest of the season. It's down to the drivers from there on out.
And we've seen a great performance by all the drivers. You know, it's been really interesting to watch the progression of not only the teams but also the drivers. You know, notably for me, a pole position in the first race and just nowhere to be seen for the rest of the season. That's something that stood out for me, obviously being so personal. But we've seen some performance changes through Chronotis having a race win I believe. Yeah, having a race win. McNichols, while he was also strong in the start, continuing to be strong, seeing some drop in performance through Kenotis. Maliori doing a fantastic job maintaining the consistency of performance through the season. Nas, great performance. Milo, a bit of up and down. You know, we've seen some weird things happen in Milo's races. Jake Wells, a little bit of a weak start, but managed to get points today, so that's fantastic for him today. Tomazic, again, another up and down type driver. So these initially rolled player attributes, these stats that they have in the background, whatever they may be, we don't know. The SIA knows, is just coming into play quite beautifully in this championship, I think.
Yeah, and I like that. I like
All
that
right.
about the series. The huge point is, you know, sometimes you can argue that it's the car, sometimes you can argue it's the driver. So that's the fun thing about F1 is all the speculation about what is what.
Yeah, and playing off fantastically, beautifully, one might say. And really important to note for all of those that are watching, you better start taking notes of these performances, whether it's the car or the driver, because you might want to contract these drivers for the next season that's going to be starting in January. We are bringing Synthodrive back, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be fantastic. And we'll yet to figure out what the race schedule is going to be, but I think it's going to be really, really good. Well, Josie, I think that should be just about enough for tonight. We're going to be rating somebody, as Mike Noss, Silent Scotty puts it into the chat there. Josie, thank you so much. Mike Noss in the booth there, or I should say in the truck. Thank you for your support today. Hope you feel better. And thank you all, everybody, all of our supporters, all of our donors, Patreon supporters. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening, and hope to see you next Wednesday for the final installment of the first season of Synthodrive as we go over to Silent Scotty. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.